Vaping is a lot less harmful than smoking a cigarette.
We're exporting a whole lot of really bad and dangerous rhetoric, bad research, and unfortunately it's being picked up and amplified in other countries.
Never forget the elephant in the room. It's actually such a big elephant that I don't think people can even breathe in that room because it's such a huge elephant. It's number one reason of the number one preventable cause of death in Australia. So when you are taking a precautionary approach, when you're like, no, we just don't know enough, I just tell them, shut up, because that just I don't know is killing people right now.
There's a tremendous push to bring about prohibition, to actually prohibit vaping. Whereas the evidence strongly suggests that actually, up to now, the most successful way of people stopping smoking cigarettes is vaping.
When vaping increases, smoking decreases.
That's right.
When vaping is restricted, smoking increases.
We're worried that, in fact, a lot of members of the public still think that using an e-cigarette is as harmful as smoking a cigarette. So, I mean, I have said that it would be tragic if smokers didn't quit and carried on smoking because they hadn't tried an e-cigarette, because they were worried about the safety of an e-cigarette.
Vaping is a form of tobacco harm reduction. No one is claiming it is the silver bullet that's going to stop everyone from smoking, and I think that's really important to acknowledge. And the people that actually support vaping support it as a harm reduction model.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Hello, and welcome to Son of Liberty Radio here on the Smoke Free Radio Network. Howdy, I'm so glad that you guys are here because Kevin and I are excited that we have the privilege of bringing to you guys the best and most amazing guests week after week on this show. Tonight, we've got the privilege of bringing on an Australian senator who was a smoker, who went to her doctor or somehow found out about vaping and became a vapor, and was the chairperson of the Senate Select Committee on Tobacco Harm Reduction in 2020. And there's more stuff ahead. So we're going to have on this show Senator Hollie Hughes. I believe she's from New South Wales in Australia. And we're not going to waste a lot of time because she has other engagements. So we only have her for a limited amount of time. But she's already agreed to come back in a few weeks when she has time and update us on more amazing stuff. But before we get any further, let's bring in my brother from another mother, Kevin, so that we can quickly get through his stuff so that we can jump right into the interview. Kevin, you're muted. Hello.
Oh, hello. I'm drinking.
Oh, hello.
I'm drinking the tears of Simon Chapman. What do you?
Oh, well, the Chimp Man.
That's right.
The Chimp Man? Isn't that what you call him?
Yes.
I will not say what I normally call Greg Hunt. Because we have to be respectable because of the senators in the backstage area, and we would not want to embarrass or say words that would that possibly would scare her away. But we can talk after her. So yep. I just really want to get started. So hello, all the people, by the way. Hello, everybody that's in the room. I see Bruni, my friend from down under, and Paul, and Mark Sliss, and Hamish, and RBMKII, and David Moyle. I'm not even going to go through all the names because right now I'm just super excited to have the senator on. So welcome and hello, Senator Hollie Hughes.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
So, we're super excited because, I'm super excited because I work in healthcare. So during the day I'm working, but as soon as I got home on the days that the Senate Select Committee was on, our very good friend Pippa actually live stream them on YouTube. She went to all the trouble to get permission to live stream them. And I'm sitting here because I missed most of the beginning part of the day, people. But, when the three consumers came on to speak, that was a very powerful thing. And I noticed when you were speaking, and I've got video that I want to play during the testimony of you talking, and you asked a question, and I'm going to play it here in a little bit, but it really got my attention. So, I mean, we all understand that you're a vapor now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 138 days without a cigarette.
That everybody, everybody clap their hands. We're every day. I mean, Kevin and I have been vaping for, it's over a decade for me and almost a decade for him, I think, or pretty close.
Close to 8.
8, So, every day that there's a new one of us, because we're all together, we say it all the time that there's a community, and there is, and we're a worldwide community. And, here in the States, we kind of got our blinders on and we only think about America. So one of the things that I've been doing on the show is, we had the president of Inco on. We had Henage Mitchell from Taiwan on. We've had a bunch of international guests because I want everybody to understand the war that we're fighting is not just here on the American front. It's everywhere. And that we have allies in this war and brothers and sisters all over the world that we are standing beside. Even when we're not there in Australia, we support from here. I do not sound like a bot, Kevin. So, just introduce yourself to the audience and kind of tell your story.
Okay. So how I became involved in this issue was back in, I think it was about May last year. The Minister for Health, whom I'm a member of the government that he serves, put out a statement basically that he was going to ban the personal importation of nicotine. So at the moment, vaping is sort of a bit of a grey area. It's kind of illegal in every state in Australia, but you're allowed to import it for personal use under this personal importation scheme. The technicality is you're supposed to have a prescription for it, but most people don't. But because you can't distribute nicotine in its liquid form within Australia legally, the importation was how most people got access to their vaping products. So this ban would have effectively made vaping impossible in Australia and certainly highly illegal. So there was about 29 of us who signed a letter, all from the government. So the minister's own backbench, we all signed a letter to him saying, well, come on, mate, this didn't come to the party room. What are you doing? And we got an extension or a delay from July 1 to January 1, and that's progressed since then so that this ban has now been taken off the table. But to be honest, I didn't really know that much about it. But the guys that run the Legalised Vaping campaign in Australia are good mates, and I know them, and so spoke to them. And really the issue for me was about personal choice, freedom and liberty. If you can take nicotine through a cigarette, which we know is incredibly harmful, but if you can also get nicotine through a patch, through a gum, through a lozenge, through a spray, why is it so terrible that it comes in the form of vaping? Like, it just seemed to me absolutely, utterly insane. So that was when we started to have a look at it. Because that we were put under a lot of restrictions, like everyone is with COVID, but when we would come to Canberra for Parliament, we were not allowed to go out for dinner. We had to stay in our accommodation, go from Parliament House to our accommodation, which made for some very boring weekends in a Canberra hotel, because we also weren't allowed to go back to Sydney or back to anywhere in those weekends in between parliamentary sitting weeks. So I had a lot of time to do a lot of reading. And one of the things that was sent through to me was a survey from the vapors. I had a really good opportunity to have a very good look at it one Saturday night. And I'd been talking to one of the ministers about a totally different issue, and that we should never be afraid of the information. We should never be afraid of the data. And we should always look into what we can. So that sort of hence where the tobacco harm reduction inquiry started, that we hadn't had one for about 2 to 3 years. A lot had obviously evolved within the vaping community, but the number of vapors, the way things were moving forward. So that was how the terms of reference and the inquiry was born. From my perspective, because I didn't really know much about it other than what I'd read, I thought, well, I should probably go and find out. So I made an appointment with Dr. Colin Mendelsohn, who was obviously leading the campaign with vaping, but is a smoking cessation specialist GP. I had an appointment with him that went for over an hour. We went through different vape devices, different strengths, different flavors, all the different bits and pieces. He also did the psych assessment of when you smoke, why you smoke, all of those sorts of things. And it was, incredibly thorough, the appointment. So I now have my prescription for vaping. He gave me a sample to take with me that he had there. And I then ordered my stuff online from New Zealand, and it arrived within a couple of days. And I honestly have not had a cigarette since. And it was totally, organic in the way it happened, because I really didn't have any intention to quit. It wasn't like I went out looking at this as an option for myself. I loved B&H Smooth with a glass of wine and, sitting on my balcony. There was nothing better. And honestly, I couldn't think of having a cigarette now. When I can smell people walking down the hallway with it, and it makes me feel ill. I'm, like we briefly discussed, I'm one of those now reformed smokers.
Yeah. I mean, as an ex-smoker, I mean, I have patients that still smoke. And when I go in, I'm like, I cannot believe I didn't know that I smelled like that.
Oh, it's revolting,
And you're like, why didn't somebody tell me?
Yeah, but look, I've got a couple of friends that, we'd get together and have a glass of wine and a ciggy. And I remember one of them said to me, you don't have any ciggies on you by any chance, do you? And I'm like, nope, off them. I've got the vape now. And so he's had a go of it. He's like, it's actually really quite good. So there's no smoking, with so many friends now, they don't smoke at all. They sit with me and have one, and now they don't do it. I don't know whether they do it with other people, but certainly with me, that's all totally stopped. And that, I had a friend the other week, he had been buying those terrible ones, the $5 revolting vapes that are actually illegal. And someone had given him one. And so I went down and took him down one of my spare vape devices, because Colin gave me the advice to make sure you've got more than a couple of, on the charger, off the charger. I've got some in Canberra, some in Sydney, pretty much everywhere. I took him one down. I took him down a couple of pods and said, try these, see how you go. And so we're in the process at the moment of trying to find him a doctor to prescribe him nicotine, because in Australia, at the time of the inquiry, we had 10 doctors who prescribed nicotine, and one of them's just retired. So we're down one. And we've got 520,000 vapors. So it's a little bit problematic about how we're going to get those prescriptions.
Getting those appointments fulfilled within any timely manner, just being able to go in and have the office visit to get the prescription.
Yeah, so there is some negotiation and discussion, and I think it's going to be ongoing at how this is going to work. So basically from October, you'll need a prescription to import nicotine. Otherwise, there's fines and different things associated with it. As far as I can still understand, the actual distribution of nicotine in Australia, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, because, who's going to sell it? I mean, is there going to be an ability to bring in commercial quantities of nicotine to then sell to people with a prescription, which would obviously then have to be sold via a pharmacy? Pharmacies really aren't that interested in getting involved in this. But you still obviously have the personal importation scheme. So people will, from the perspective of getting nicotine, you're still going to be able to get it. From my perspective, as a member of the federal government who's very interested in our tax revenue side, I get very upset that we're sending jobs, we're sending supply chain, we're sending, production, distribution, all of that to New Zealand primarily. Just think it's not all my cup of tea, but quite frankly, I'm not that interested in giving a jobs either. I'd prefer them to be here.
We actually know a pharmacist from New Zealand, or that's in New Zealand, that is more than willing to help.
But you can still buy from New Zealand now. This is what and I guess there were a lot of people disappointed last December when we reported that we weren't moving to a consumer model, and ultimately that's where I would like to see us go. But we still, made significant gains, and the fact that that personal importation ban would have effectively made vaping totally illegal within Australia. So by getting that ban removed, we've totally changed that landscape.
Yep.
Now,
the
the
conversation
subscription model, not great. But as a member of the government, I have to say that if we cannot work with the GPs, if we cannot get the Royal College, then ensure we have enough GPs to provide the services of prescriptions that somehow or other, I mean, I don't know where in the budget this is coming from, because you've obviously got now additional potential Medicare rebates because we have universal healthcare here in Australia. How is that all going to work? And at the end of the day, it will be a failure of government policy if there are not enough doctors to then prescribe. So it's something that I'm going to be looking incredibly closely at to ensure, because the doctors have to register to be able to provide those nicotine scripts. And I understand they're going to do some training for them about how it works. Not a lot of GPs are big fans. They don't understand it for a start, but they're pretty busy with a whole lot of other stuff. As we all know, the best people to probably advise you are vapers, people that use vapes. They understand it. It's the guys that run vape stores that have taught me more about it. And to be fair, Colin was a fantastic GP, but that was his specialist area.
Yeah.
Everyone else.
There's probably nobody better in Australia to convert people or to be the doctor to do that than Colin.
Well, he's just retired.
And he's retired.
So it's a huge loss.
Yep.
Huge loss.
Yep.
And I understand that even with a prescription, you can only have a 3-month supply. You can only import a 3-month supply. Is that?
So you can only import a 3-month supply. My prescription is for 12 months though. So it's a prescription with 4, the repeats on it, 3 repeats, so that each 3 months. So it actually goes for 12 months. And basically, I don't have to take my prescription anywhere. I have a copy of it on my phone. So I have a photo of it. So if I'm ever vaping somewhere and someone ever came up to me and said, do you have a prescription for that? Well, actually, you might have seen in the TGA during the inquiry when I pointed out that the rather large bottle of pure nicotine without a child safety cap imported from China, that was legal, whereas the small containers with that are very tough to squeeze, that have the small lid, the pointy lids, and the little spout. See, I'm very technical, but they are incredibly child safe. But they don't want to sell those in Australia. They want to, they still want you to be able to import these huge bottles that, no child safety protection caps, which we did get the TGA to move on that they are going to make sure and mandate child protection caps. But people keep this stuff in the freezer. Lots of people's freezers are on the bottom of the fridge now. So we need to be really, really careful here. But, the TGA's smart ass to me, if you got a prescription for that, well, thankfully I already had it up on the phone, so I did. And it was empty. But, it's just ridiculous. I'm very concerned it's not going to work, but I think we do as a community need to acknowledge it is a significant step forward from policymakers wanting to just ban vaping full stop, and we've got away from that.
Many of us are very familiar with we know somebody that was in Australia that lost his livelihood. He lost everything when the state or province or whatever the word is in Australia went against him. Vince lost everything. Like, they drug him through the courts. Like, he had a business where he was trying to help people quit smoking, and he lost everything because
it is harder to buy a vape in Australia than it is to buy a gun in the US.
Well, no, I mean, I live in Texas. It's not hard at all in Texas.
But I suggest almost in any state in the US, it's easier to buy a gun than it is to buy a vape in Australia. It's extraordinary. But you can go to the supermarket for this terrible product that we call nicotine that is just so dreadful. You can go to the supermarket with there's absolutely no age restrictions and buy nicotine-based products.
Like cigarettes.
And it's cigarettes, but they do have them behind the counter, and there are obviously
cigarettes are restricted, but the sprays, the gums, the lozenges, they're right on that lower shelf.
Yeah, if we look at what the anti-smoking campaigns used to be about, they actually used to be quite factual. You know, they talked about the tar, the carcinogens, and the smoke that goes into your lungs with cigarette smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's nicotine.
Yeah.
Because they are just looking for the next thing. It is so ideological. And what I find extraordinary is so-called professionals who are in incredibly senior roles within universities, health organizations and associations, senior doctors who would very much like to think of themselves as specialists, and you know, I like they probably think of themselves quite respectable people. The personal vitriol and attacks that have been you know, put to me, the constant bombardment that I receive from one particular advocate against vaping, who is convinced that somehow or other we're all the shield of big tobacco. And, you know, who's going to lose the money the most? I haven't bought a packet of cigarettes for 138 days. I just saw when I was just went to the store before I came back to my hotel this morning, the sign up, cigarettes have gone up 12.5% again due to a new government tax. The fact of the matter is, putting prices up is not working. The smoking rate has remained very stagnant for the last few years. We're at a point now that price is no longer the push point. And we have so much illegal tobacco now coming into this country that the black market, through the increased price, the black market's just increasing to grow. And yep, big tobacco in the past, probably not the greatest corporate citizens. However, a lot of them have recognized the fact that their market is disappearing. People are no longer smoking. And obviously there's different countries have different types of declines in their smoking rates. But one of the proposals that I made was to be smoke-free in 2027. Now, the senators who went against that, including one of my colleagues, they couldn't even support that as a part of the report. And I found that extraordinary. And I think it tells you everything we need to know about these people. Is it's not about really quitting smoking. Their ideological viewpoint against vaping is so strong and so weird. Like, honestly, it's just weird. I don't know why it invokes this incredible sort of anger from these people. I mean, this colleague of mine said to me when I first moved to get the inquiry up, her comment to me was, why don't they just use a patch? And I said to her, do you smoke? And she's like, no. I said, have you ever smoked? And she said, no. And I said, well, shut up then. You don't know how hard it is to quit smoking.
Oh.
I mean, honestly.
I'm sorry.
If one more person who's never had a cigarette and's never had to try and quit smoking tells me that, call the quit line, go and get a patch, go and get a spray. I mean, what they don't understand, for me, it had nothing to do necessarily with the nicotine. It was very that the habit, when you had a wine or you were on the phone,
the rituals
was my thing. The ritual. I never had a cigarette till 5 o'clock in the evening, at least. Yep. Like I never smoked during the day, but there was rituals there, and it had become a bit of a thing that, you know, I would be able to escape for about 10 minutes at 5 o'clock from when I had very young children, and you know, I'd sneak out the back and have a ciggy, and that was my time. It was associated with quiet time. So for me, it was both the physical, but also that psychological connection. And you don't get that from a patch, but you get it from the vape. And so because that you can mimic what you used to do, it is literally so easy. And I have never been able to quit before, even though, you know, I had gone through periods in my life, and certainly when I was pregnant, I never smoked. I actually went quite a few years without smoking, and was really much very, very social with it. But then there was other times, I have a son with autism, very stressful at times. And I am happy to acknowledge that sometimes when I get a bit stressed, I would like a cigarette. Yes. But, you know, and that was where it was. So I'm just sick of people who've never had to try and quit smoking make these suggestions, which are just ludicrous. Because when you talk to vapers who successfully quit, every single one of them has tried another product beforehand. Mm-hmm. Some of the stories we hear about people that have tried pharmaceutical remedies like Champix,
some of the stories are just frightening with the side effects. And in fact, every friend of mine I know who's tried Champix, not one of them has successfully quit smoking ever. I cannot think of one, and I can think of 20 people who've used Champix, and every single one of them smokes still.
Yeah, Eliana is our pharmacist friend from New Zealand. She makes a comment in the chat room going back to the price increases, breaking the cycle of poverty. Cigarettes make poor Australians poor, especially the Aboriginal people that have a higher smoking prevalence. We all, those of us that have been in a situation where we don't have as much money, we would choose to smoke. We would buy cigarettes before we would buy lunch.
And look,
price increases just demonize and attack the poor people because they're still going to get the thing that provides that small amount of stress relief. I mean, people that are poorer, people that live in stressful situations, people that have mental illness, people that have problems, smoking rates are higher in those groups. So yeah, a cost increase doesn't and the people that they're trying to keep from smoking, they have more spendable money. The kids get money from mom and dad.
Yeah, look, it's reached a point at the moment we're not going to see without some form of new intervention. Price increases, I don't think, are anymore going to be the deterrent that they were. I mean, I remember when cigarettes. Now I'm probably giving my age away here, but I
think both of us are older than you.
But they were less than $5 a packet, and I remember being with girlfriends, we just left school and saying, we're going to stop when they hit $5 a packet. The last packet of cigarettes I bought cost $58.
Holy
$58.
Crikey. No, I mean, I remember when cigarettes were 60 cents a pack. So
yeah.
And Kevin remembers when they were 20 cents a pack.
$58 was the last packet of cigarettes I bought.
No.
So one of the things, the clip I wanted to play was from the hearing. And this is something that all of us have experienced. And when a politician, because I want everybody to know, not all politicians are evil, because we have one here who's one of us. You put it in perfect words. And when you said this, it just made me feel warm that there was somebody that was on our side. You might not be in our capital here in the States, but I just want to play this. And then you can answer the question that you were going to here. So let me slap this on the screen here.
One of the things that we do keep hearing from the experts is that the stories like yours, increasingly stories like mine, I'm 60 days without a cigarette, that we are nothing but anecdotes.
So how does it make you feel when you see a scientist or a supposed health professional or a public health professional? We have a word for them, public health in name only. Public health person point to our stories and diminish the value of our stories by saying you're an anecdote, you're not important, that's not a science-based statement or whatever. What does that make you feel?
Look, I just found some of the responses overwhelmingly by people who purport to be public health officials. I'm not quite sure whose public health they're trying to support, but it's certainly not people that want to quit smoking. But their total reluctance to acknowledge the everyday Australians who were, sharing their stories. But it included my colleagues who, when I asked for a greater extension of the inquiry to allow us to go and talk to more people around the country, because we had received over 9,000 submissions from everyday Australians telling their stories. And I mean, this is an incredible amount of people it was a very tight timeline, this whole inquiry. So the receiving of submissions was 2 weeks, I think. So, in that incredibly short piece of time, we had over 9,000 submissions. Now, some of my colleagues and all of these people that were coming in from a public health perspective and telling us that vaping was not efficient and that anyone who said it was just an anecdote, had zero interest in hearing from them, had zero interest in listening to them, and had zero interest in actually reading those submissions. And, you know, one of the studies that was being presented to us was relying on its vaping product with 0.01% nicotine, effectively no nicotine at all. And that was the basis she was using the study to say, see, vaping doesn't work. I mean, it was just ridiculous. I mean, it was Senator Canavan did a fantastic job that she was refusing to look at one series of studies because she wasn't happy with their, you know, and I'm not, Matt was fantastic on all the statistical information around those, but she was heavily relying on one that actually says this study should not be used because the data can't be verified. But she was using that to rely on her evidence that vaping doesn't work, but anyone who told her that it did was just an anecdote. But this is the same person who's been paid $1 million, picked by the government, you know, the minister, to put this report together, whom at times would say to us, oh, I can't fully answer that because the report's not completed. She had $750,000 for a 7-page report, which is basically a desktop study. I mean, it's embarrassing. And then the recommendations from TGA to come out before her report was done.
Haley Decker Leonard.
I mean, but it just shows that the sincerity behind this was not there. No. It wasn't really about understanding vaping. There was an ideological position that vaping should not occur, that it shouldn't be supported, that it shouldn't be legal. And it's, you know, there was lots of people there to back that up. With the anecdote side of things, it is so offensive. I'm a senator for New South Wales. I represent all people in New South Wales in the Senate. And the number of people from across not only New South Wales, but the country that have reached out to me that are ashamed that they are treated so badly. They're embarrassed that they're dismissed, that they're called an anecdote. They're devastated that what their success means is totally diminished and ignored. And the fact that it's becoming harder and harder for them. I mean, hopefully we'll make it easier, you know, eventually for these people to continue vaping. But, you know, people were genuinely scared. They had quit smoking after 30, 40, 50 years. And they were petrified that they would go back to cigarettes if they quit vaping, and they couldn't access vaping. And that's, you know, really, I mean, it's a terrible state of affairs.
Has this given you insight for the senator side of you, not as a consumer, but as a senator, when you're going to in the future, or since these hearings, you're listening to other people with anecdotal testimony, does that change your mindset as to what you're listening to because of this?
I think you've always got to mix, I think, the two, the anecdote with the scientific. But at the end of the day, when they are doing scientific studies, they're talking to real people. Well, they should be.
Right.
And to then try and separate the two, I mean, it just doesn't make sense a lot of the time. I'm also chairing an inquiry into autism at the moment. And, you know, some of the most powerful stories that we hear and the most powerful testimony is coming from parents and their experience, and autistic people themselves and their experiences. And you can't take away that lived experience. The lived experience
and you can't
is
regulate.
What makes people interested in something. You know, the lived experience is what draws people to a particular issue or, you know, advocacy work. So the lived experience is really, really important, and it's important for us to understand it.
Yeah. I did throw the link. You were talking about Emily Banks. That was the testimony, because I rewatched some of these videos in preparation for the show, and that bit where you were getting to question her was getting quite exciting. And she was just not willing to answer those questions. Oh, I don't want to preempt my study by answering those questions.
But on the same account, I'm not using the studies that support vaping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you the truth.
Because she's actually not doing a study herself. She's doing a collation of studies.
Yeah, she's doing a review, a scientific
she's
review.
Doing a review. Yeah. So she's reviewing studies that support her point of view. And when it was pointed out, there were other studies that were by leading academics, leading universities that have been supported and backed up and absolutely, you know, revisited and reviewed, and no, they weren't any good to her.
Yeah, no,
she was, you know, able to statistically claim there were problems, but she's very happy to cling to the one that literally says don't use this study because the data is not verifiable. And
Yeah,
Senator Canavan was brilliant.
They were going after the nut study quite significantly during the testimony. Oh, we can't use that one because, it doesn't say what we want it to say.
Yeah, it doesn't support my point of view, and this is, everyone's human. But for some reason on this vaping issue, there is this fierce opposition that is, it's weird. I don't understand why these people, they literally live and breathe anti-vaping.
They're going to lose
and
their
so
jobs.
quite frankly, after talking to all these people, they to me are the pro-smoking lobby. They are the big tobacco supporters, because every single person they make it more difficult to go into vaping for is another person who's continuing to buy cigarettes, who's continuing to support big tobacco, and it's with their endorsement.
So what do you have going on in the next little while? I know that Parliament's starting up again soon.
Yeah, so we have at the very last week of February, we're back to estimates. So before the Senate inquiry, we also had I asked some questions of both the TGA and the Health Department in previous estimates. I think we were in October, November. I'd have to double check last year when it was, that fabulous year of 2020. But I asked a number of questions to both the TGA and the Health Department around vaping and the position and different things that were occurring. And a number of them were taken on notice. So for those that don't know, questions on notice, we give them a time frame to get back to us. There are a number of those questions that have not been answered. So at the end of February, if they're not answered, I will be re-asking them and asking why they weren't answered last time. And so it'll be interesting to see, but we'll also be keeping a running watch on how many doctors are registered, how many doctors have gone through the training. I had a question today from someone. I actually sent them a message. I think I used the wrong name, but sort of autocorrect when I was typing. But the AMA has, the president of the AMA has apparently said something about time limiting of scripts. I haven't actually seen anything where he has said that, but he is opposed to vaping, and he has said outright on a number of occasions. The AMA, though, is effectively a union. They're not the Royal College of GPs, who have expressed more interest and support for this model. The AMA, they've never seen a rebate they don't like. So if there's a Medicare rebate attached to this, I'm sure at some stage they'll come around. But, GPs are not really interested in this stage. Most of the ones that I've spoken to sort of outside on other issues aren't rushing at the chance to prescribe nicotine, and they don't understand it. They don't understand how it works. They don't understand the strength. They don't understand any of that. It's all, it's a specialization, that smoking cessation.
Job security.
Yeah. One of the viewers has said that her GP has said that under no circumstances is he going to write a prescription for nicotine.
Yeah, my GP's not a fan. He's not a fan. I spoke to him about it, and he's like, "No, I don't know about that." He's a great GP. I like him for everything else.
And
he said to me, "I'm not a fan."
Yeah.
But they, I think, have been given a lot of misinformation.
We know
21,000 deaths in Australia caused by smoking. We know that. Zero by vaping. The 3 deaths that they refer to in the US had the THC in it. They were black market THC vapes.
No.
It was, and up until the day of our first tobacco harm reduction, that information was on the Health Department's website. They changed it the day, which might be a bit of a tip, because that was one of the questions I asked them. When did it change? Could I get that information as a question on notice, which they declined to provide an answer to. Not that they have the right to just decline an answer, but they just didn't provide it. But we know it was the day before that they took that false information down. It had been up for years. Because we've been watching brief on it. And
even our stuff.
That is misleading information from the Health Department.
Yeah.
So
even our groups still have it on their websites.
It's an ideological driven argument. There have been 0 deaths by vaping. If I hear once more we don't have enough information, as you yourself have said, Patrick, you've been going for 11 years or so. Vaping. We would know today, if smoking became a product today, we would know within a very short period of time the harm that tar does, the harm that combustible tobacco does, the harm that the smoke on the lungs does, we would know that very quickly. And these health officials who are making these claims, well, I think it's insulting to the scientists because the scientists have done a lot of the work. They know popcorn lung's not a thing. They know that the THC is, was off black market and not causing the deaths. They know that it's reducing smoking rates. And you can't have the argument both ways. You can't have an increase in the numbers of vapors, decrease in the numbers of smoking, but argue it's an on-ramp. I mean, it's just insane. We have the biggest drop in youth smoking that we've ever seen. They're not, and that drop is continuing. We're not seeing a spike in the 24-year-olds taking up the fags.
No.
And they're not going to go from a habit, if they do vape, that costs $5 a week, maybe, to a $58 a packet. Why would you? And it stinks.
Would you?
No. I mean, why would you? It's insane.
Nobody would.
It's insane. It is the most stupid argument I've ever heard. Do I acknowledge kids are vaping? Of course they are. But you know what? When I was at school, we were smoking.
Yes, we were.
Kevin started smoking when he was like 3 years old. So,
I literally have about 4 minutes left. But
I know.
I was a bit naughty in high school,
Yeah.
Sneaking off with my girlfriends to have
kids will always experiment. And when you tell somebody, even in America, I don't know about Australia, but in America, we're very rebellious people. If you tell us you can't do that. Well, I think you guys are just as bad as us, I believe.
I think that's our slogan nationally. Tell us not to, and we will.
Yeah, I mean that's how we are, and I believe that children, regardless of where they are, when something is taboo or something, you can't do it. That's the first thing they're going to do.
But in the consumer model that Senator Canavan and I were proposing, we were looking for the same sorts of restrictions that apply to alcohol, that apply to cigarettes. And if you've got specific vape stores who have regulatory requirements to only sell the product to over 18, it is exactly the same model as an alcohol store. So what is the problem? They have the same issues. So if you get busted selling it to underage, you have the same penalties as if you own a liquor store. It's just, honestly, I found the anti-arguments just so ludicrous that it wasn't backed up by their numbers. And every time something didn't match when you could point out the numbers to them, is just, they just move on to the next study that they...
And they're admitting that they can't do their job.
Somewhere else.
Oh, sorry.
Eliana says it perfectly in the chat room.
Yeah.
Your fear of nicotine addiction.
Eggplants.
Yeah.
What? We're going to ban eggplants? We're going to ban tomatoes? Because there's nicotine in both of those. It's a naturally occurring substance. Honestly. And why is nicotine in a pack A-okay, but nicotine in a vape, oh, that's no good. You cannot have different, all nicotine is not considered equally.
Yeah, you said that in the hearing. I was going to clip that, but it was getting really long. And but the quote that I know they loved, a couple of people loved, and it got a bit of airtime down here, was with the bottle. When I did a press conference, I said, the reality is, we got a bottle here, a litre bottle of nicotine, made in China, no childproof cap. For all we know, it was brewed in a bathtub in Wuhan. And but that's the reality. We don't know anything about it. We have no quality oversight. We have no assurances of the product quality and the control. So, we need to make sure that we're doing a lot better, that if nicotine is so dangerous and it's such a terrible product, that why is it okay that we don't even know where people are getting it from? It is so insane. Their argument, I have never heard a more ridiculous series of arguments, and a product that people so passionately oppose for, I don't know, don't use it. If you don't like them, don't use them.
Welcome to our world.
We are so glad you are here. I know that you need to go. I don't want to rush you away.
I'm sorry about that, but I promise I'll come back. And if anyone's got any specific questions or anything, if you just shoot them through to me, I'll make sure I've got all the information.
This has been a 45-minute packed informational view.
It's just just lovely to hear somebody say the same things that we've been saying for years that might actually have a stage to say it on.
Impact. Yes.
Well, I have moved recently from tobacco flavored to tropical flavored, so I feel like I'm branching out a little bit.
Well, we have friends in Australia that are flavor people, and I can promise you, if you get us an address, we can get stuff to you with lots of different flavors.
Well, I have a prescription, so this is my vape, and I use these little pods.
Yep.
You know, because I'm incredibly not techie. And the thought of having to refill pods was just a little bit too much for me. So I've probably gone for the most expensive option, but I've gone for the easy version.
We can get you something like this.
No, but
that has
I like this.
This is not much bigger
for me.
This has a refillable. All you have to do is lift the little thing and squirt a little liquid in it, and that's it.
I know, but there's coils and stuff you got to change and stuff. Let me tell you that again.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I didn't have my laptop for 8 weeks. I forgot my password. You know, there's certain things that you just know where you should just, know your limitations.
Thank you so much for spending
time
with us.
Guys, happy to come back. I apologize that I have to go.
Everybody say goodbye to the senator. Bye, Holly.
See you guys.
We've got more questions, so please contact me when you're ready.
Will do. Now, do you let me go, or do I have to go?
You can
I'm so techie.
You can just hit the button. There should be a button that says leave, or I'll kick you. I don't want to kick you.
I got it.
Though.
All right. See you guys. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for that.
Bye.
Wow. She's riled. I like riled.
48 minutes of gold right there, buddy.
I like her way better than you.
I like her way better than I like myself. Wow, Kevin, that was. I am so excited to have her on again.
Man.
Wow, guys. So I did throw the link to Hollie's website in the chat room, and it's just holliehughes.com.au. That's HOLLIEHUGHES.AU. And she has a whole section on her website that says tobacco harm reduction. So I'm just gonna throw it up on screen here because I want everybody, obviously not tonight, but this is her tobacco harm reduction. This is her page. You click on this tab, it brings you to this section. And down here, obviously, there's a button to donate. If you guys want to donate to the senator's campaign. And then all of the videos from all of the hearings are here with the names of the people that are being talked to in the interview. And this one down here, Emily Banks, is the one. If you really want to see the senator get hot, really, really riled up, watch this one. This one is good. There's 8 videos up here, and some of them are, obviously they're each about an hour long or so, I think. Some of them are 2 hours, but yeah, I invite you to watch those. This is good stuff.
And her Twitter, I just threw in the chat as well.
Yeah. Everybody follow her on Twitter. On Twitter. Like her on Facebook. We want to amplify all of her stuff. She is a vocal tobacco harm reduction person. She has a child with autism. She's an autism advocate, and her mother has dementia. And she's a dementia advocate. So we remind me after the show to hit Aaron up, because we should figure out a way to get her to be able to screen that film for Parliament. That's what she said she wanted to do.
Yep.
So, hey, Kevin, what else has been going on with you?
Oh my goodness. I broke my Aspire glass thingy bobber. So I'm telling you, harm reduction are those little rubbers that you can buy.
Did you tape that together or what?
No, I put some more bands on the new one.
Oh, you got some vape bands. Yeah, those things you don't see those anymore, but like vape bands used to be the thing. Like
thankfully, as the senator mentioned,
Plume Room has some really nice vape bands. This is a free commercial for the Plume Room.
Troops in there somewhere. I saw it.
Yeah, they actually had these ones that look like cigar bands that were really cool because they just weren't. They had
Well,
and then this was the Vaping Militia vape band. We had a Vaping Militia vape band. And what is this one? This one says, "Oh, this is an advertisement for smoke signals." This is these are cool.
all I know is wrap your tobacco product in other tobacco products, and it'll save them. It's harm reduction. Like she said, you have to have backups, and I'm thankful that I had backups for another tank, or I wouldn't have had this tonight. I'd have had to use something else in this instance. So,
I mean, you do have one of these. I know that you have one.
Oh yeah, it's right here. It's the blue one.
Yeah. Oh, the blue one.
I saw Truth Initiative spent. What was that? Let me see.
I think you sent me a thing. You sent me a thing.
Let's see if I did good. They marketed to children $59,890 million, $59,890,067, and they did $1,900,000 in research. I thought that was really neat for 2019, or I'm sorry, ending June of 2019.
Yeah. Did you see our very good friend Mark Sliss sent us another personal PM just now? Yeah, I almost this week I almost got a little teary eyed because Mark sent us a private message at the beginning of the week, and it was so lovely. I talked to Mark yesterday for a little while because Nick Orlando did a thing for Florida Smoke Free, and I had some free time, so I went to watch what he was doing with Florida Smoke Free, and it was wonderful. There were vape guys in there from all over the country, and I want to spend just a minute to talk about the importance. We've spent a lot of time over the years talking about the importance of funding your groups.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't know for a fact, but I'm quite confident that every state group is not funded. If you do business, if you're in the industry and you do business in X numbers of states, you really should be helping in X number of states. But it was really nice because there was a bunch of bigger people in there, and they're like, well, Nick, I'm looking at your website now to join, and your membership is too low.
Good.
Fix your membership so that I can give you more money.
That's good.
Which was awesome. There was a number of larger manufacturers that were in there that did that. So I just want to thank the people in the industry that are doing the right thing. We've always said over the years, support the companies that are supporting advocacy. Mark was working. He was in the meeting, but then he was serving customers. So he missed a good bit of the meeting, but I'll give you a recap anytime, Mark. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's a whole bunch of shit going on, Kevin.
Yes.
We talked a couple weeks ago about USPS saying that they're not going to ship vape products on X day. Then we heard that UPS was not going to, they were going to follow suit essentially. FedEx is going to follow suit. So right now we have the government telling UPS or USPS, you can't carry vape products anymore. Excuse me. And we have, that was gross. We have FedEx voluntarily saying we're not going to carry those products either. And UPS, and now we hear, I mean, UPS, I guess, was discussing banning business to consumer.
Right.
But it now looks like they're shuffling their feet and they are making it almost impossible, or they're totally ignoring people that are trying to set up business accounts to ship their products on UPS to other businesses.
Right.
So I don't have, like, I know that there's a lot of people that are talking about this on the internet. I am not going to be that guy because I don't know any more than what I've heard whispers about.
Yep.
But I mean, obviously, if the vape shops can't buy product and have it delivered to their store,
yeah,
and they can't put it on their shelves, and consumers can't come in and buy product off the shelf, that's essentially a ban.
Yep. Restriction of trade, restraint of trade.
It really, we've had 45 minutes of amazing stuff, and I'm that sort of, but I don't want to be the downer here, but it doesn't matter if you get a PMTA if you can't ship your product.
Nope. I saw a comment very close to that today. It doesn't matter if I put my PMTA.
PMTAs don't mean shit if you can't put you. I guess what we're going to have to do is everybody that's got a vape shop, or not a vape shop, but a vape business, is going to have to buy a fleet of trucks and deliver their shit nationwide.
Yep.
Builds or map out some sort of route across the country and spend 30 days, just hire a driver full time. Here, you're going to drive all over the country and go to all the vape shops and drop off their deliveries. Mm-hmm. Kevin, do you want to buy a semi truck?
No, but I know a few drivers.
It might get to the point where we have to do like a shipping relay.
Yeah.
They're like, the way this, we're going to have to build pirate ship trucks to drive all over the country and drop shit off.
Pirate shipping. There you go.
My back is too bad to be driving around in a car or a truck all that time. But, if you had if you were an owner operator of a semi truck company, you might be able to make some business off of this.
Yep.
But yeah, it's crazy.
Any means necessary. They're going every way they can. Regulate, restrict, tax, ban. That's what they've wanted to do.
Well, you got to put demonize in there somewhere. They're
demonize, stigmatize, bully. Yeah. Hey, that little fucker down in Florida, Jacksonville, he hasn't answered my questions yet.
Well, I didn't. Everybody that obviously pays attention to us, obviously during one of the shows,
Patrick,
2 weeks ago. What?
They pay attention to us.
Well, from YouTube, RBMKII says Demetrius wants to buy a submarine. That only works if you're delivering to the coast.
Oh.
There's a whole bunch of middle people. The flyover country is screwed. It literally means that we're screwed.
If you tell me what you want and I can get it, and you tell me your address, I'll send it to you.
I don't. Are they gonna train dogs?
Nicotine dogs. There we go.
Are they going to train dogs to smell fruity flavors? Are we going to have to are we going to have to package our e-liquid in boxes, surrounded with coffee? Like they used to do cocaine back.
Coffee.
We can't waste coffee, but yeah, that's how they used to, if you ever watch Beverly Hills Cop, that's one of the ways that they shipped cocaine was to package it in the middle of a package of coffee so that the dogs couldn't. Is that what we're going to have to do?
Probably.
It's just.
You ain't getting my Folgers.
they Folgers?
Yeah.
Boy, buy some real fucking coffee.
Stop judging.
We could just buy a fleet of drones.
There we go. There you go.
That's I saw a video.
That's a good idea.
Are you familiar with Kevin Smith? He's a movie director. He directed the movie Clerks. Well, he's a big podcaster, and he's also a big pothead. And his pot is delivered to his house via drone in California. So yeah, I guess I guess that works for local delivery, but how does that work for getting massive amounts of quality product, clean product?
Long distance, yeah.
Long distances. I mean, I can make for myself and I can make for my friends. I don't have a lab. I don't make it in a bathroom. I have scientific, beakers and stuff back there that are cleaned. And Paul taught me how to sterilize my bottles, or not my bottles, but my glassware. So, I feel comfortable that I'm not putting out, bathtub product, and I'm not selling product anywhere. Right. But it makes me sad.
Yeah.
That first they put this mountain in front of everybody and they say, here's your PMTA mountain.
Yeah. Focus on this.
Climb up Everest, and when you get there, we'll give you a trophy and you can sell your product.
Yeah.
Then, obviously they move the goalposts multiple times throughout the years. The deadline falls 4 months later. They release the final guidance for the PMTA after everybody's already submitted their PMTAs. And obviously I don't know. I know that there are people getting deficiency letters. I don't know what any of the deficiency letters say. I don't know what they're asking for yet. Literally, if they're asking for all the science, if that's what the letters say, you have to submit to them either what they ask for or a solution to how you're going to get the answer to them. And if not, you're fucked. They're hitting businesses now with warning letters that are still selling product that they didn't file PMTAs for.
Yep.
People that I know.
Yep.
That have been selling product for years, that tried to be as responsible as they could be, but they knew that there was just no way for them forward with the PMTA. So they just figured they would fly under the radar. No, they're not going to fly under the radar. They're starting enforcement. Mm-hmm. I know 4 different people that have gotten letters in the last 2 or 3 weeks. People that I, met at conventions and were friends with and were active in advocacy. They just, realized that they couldn't survive and try to do a PMTA. So they're getting warning letters now saying you're fucked. So, it sucks. This is what we have. This is our future until we bite, claw, stab people, whatever it is that we have to do to win. Because we're willing to do, we're going to do everything that we can do to win. But yeah, it does suck. It sucks a lot. And then they decide, oh, well, we'll just fucking take their distribution away.
Yeah. While you were worrying about your PMTAs, this is what we're
doing. Oh, well, yeah. What you've been distracted.
Squirrels.
You've been distracted. So here, let's fuck you over some more. Yeah, let me look on Twitter here because I see a lot of action on the Twitter about sharing the feed on Twitter of the wonderful Senator Hollie Hughes. I'm still buzzed, man. Like
we're not even from Australia.
she just put a smile on my face.
What a sweet thing to do from her. I appreciate
and Kevin,
what?
She's coming back.
Oh yes.
She's coming back. Yeah, I mean, I had a lot more questions.
We didn't scare her off. That's good.
No. That was the whole point, was to make her feel welcome, to make her to show her that we weren't evil assholes that were going to try to embarrass her. Because Paul was like, dude, I got to come on and talk. And I'm like, dude, I'll get you in. I'll get you in. I promise I'll get you in. And then, yeah.
She rolled. She kept rolling.
She texted me. She said, how long does this need to be? And I'm like, well, however long you can give me. And she said, well, I have another meeting. Can it, I'm going to have to only be able to give you like 30 to 45 minutes. I'm like, we'll take what we can get, and we'll get more later.
Very
So
packed
yeah, 45 minutes of some of the best content that we've had on here every week, dude. We
Have you ever smoked? Then shut up.
that was I'm gonna clip that. I'm gonna make it my ringtone. I'm gonna, yeah. Oh, so next week,
Chucklehead.
next week we're having another amazing woman on our show.
What?
Nancy Lucas from CAFRA is going to be on the show next week. The week after that, Dr. Mark Tyndall from Canada. I think he's in Quebec or British Columbia. I know they're not in the same place, but I can't remember. But I sent you the link a while back of Dr. Mark Tyndall's TED Talk.
Yes.
We're going to have a guy on the show that did a fucking TED Talk.
Did a TED Talk, yeah. Because a lot of people don't get to do that.
That's respectable.
Yeah. Should we
That's
wear a tie?
respectable.
I'll wear a tie.
No, I absolutely will not be wearing a tie. My hypocrisy only goes so far. And I will not be wearing a fucking tie. Yeah. So
Nancy's going to be an interesting one. Her and I are in a couple of groups that we have common goals, like every group does, and yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, I mean,
I like that.
I didn't realize that she was an American that lives in New Zealand.
Yeah,
I was really looking forward to the accent. And she's got like a New York accent, so.
And if anybody, if anybody, looking at Paul, can get Simon Chapman on,
please,
or Jerome,
he hasn't banned me.
Either one, I will forward this straight to you post haste.
I just realized something. All the well, Mark, we're working on Sally Sattel. She's also on the list.
She's another one. Yep.
She's on the list. I've tweeted at her now. I have to do the slow roll on these big people. I tweet at them. I ask people to heart or retweet the tweet showing that people are interested. So yeah, if you go to my Twitter, if Tahir will never come on. So go to my Twitter. Here, I'm going to show it on screen so that everybody can see it, because I want everybody to. There's a purpose. There's a reason why we do these things. To get the amazing guests that we want. We have to show that there's people that are interested. So I did a tweet and I said, I'm looking at the list of people I would love to interview on Son of Liberty Radio. And one name catches my eye.
Yep.
Sally Sattel.
Yep.
We've had great guests. Eliana, who was just in the chat room a while ago. Chauncey Gardner, Dr. Charles Gardner, Samrat Chowdhury. We've now had Hollie Hughes on the show. And in a few weeks, Dr. Mark Tyndall will be on the show. Who would love to hear from Dr. Sally Sattel? So please, everybody go to Twitter and like and retweet that, because the more people that she gets, that she sees, hey, you've been tagged in. Somebody liked a tweet that you've been tagged in, or somebody retweeted a tweet that you've been tagged in. I want them to see that people are interested, because then that will give them, kind of an idea why there's somebody that wants to be on, these people want to hear from me. Maybe I'll go on that show.
And if you do that underneath that tweet or above that tweet, I'm going to give you Dr. Sattel's Twitter, because I think Mark did it actually already, but I'm going to put it in here for those who can't see it or whatever, because you forgot her handle. That's all.
I tagged her in it.
You did?
Yes. In that tweet that I'm just talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, she's tagged in the very first sentence, or the end of the very first sentence.
I got you. Sorry.
Are you a chucklehead?
I was looking at the bottom.
Sir, I am a Twitter monster. I don't make mistakes on Twitter. I may not be as volume. I may not have the volume of tweets that you have because you tweet 20 times for every one of mine. But every one of mine are gold, my friend.
You know that. We've talked about that. Volume does not matter. Content matters. Volume.
Volume, my friend. Volume. So yes, we want Dr. Sattel on the show. I believe. I mean, we had Michelle Mint. We've had all of the all the people from the brain trusts. All of the we had Lindsay on. She's from a think tank, right? We had Michelle Minton on. She's from a think tank.
Dear X.
The only think tank person that we haven't had is Brian Foytik.
Yeah.
He.
Dr.
I mean,
Gardner,
I think he's.
on.
Well, yeah, he was with the think tank. So yeah, we get all the think tank people. Dr. Sattel.
My name is Patrick. I myself am another chucklehead.
Come join the chuckleheads on Son of Liberty Radio. Yes.
Virtually. Turns out, though, that we're not really chuckleheads and we're a little sharper than they may think.
No, but that's our brand. Like first, when it was me and Fig, it was the two alcoholics.
Suck them in and
now that I've sort of made a rule about not drinking too much during the show so that the show doesn't turn to shit. We've been getting better guests on, and our new brand is we're the chuckleheads. We're the goofballs. We're not here. I mean, we get great content, but we're not here to
tease anybody. Not really.
We're just having fun on a Friday night with all of our friends. So yeah, I mean, obviously everybody needs to keep an eye on what's going on with the shipping stuff. I still haven't gotten any clear idea of what was in that 516 page final guidance. I said I'm fucking drawing the line. I'm not reading another 516 page FDA thing that doesn't really make any sense or doesn't change anything. A lot of their guidance is regurgitating stuff that they've already said. And I sort of have an idea that this 516 pages sort of just is a compilation of all of their regurgitations.
It is.
I don't believe that anything changed. I guarantee you that they didn't make anything easier.
Nope.
So I'm waiting for an actual summary.
Jim McDonald will assess it. Dr.
No. I want somebody that I think has a brain in their head. I'm not. I sorry, Kevin. I know that you've been on his cock, but I don't. I can't anymore. I just can't. I can't anymore.
Assessment.
He says a lot of shit on Twitter just to piss people off. I saw him having a fight with Greg Connolly on Twitter the other day.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes. So
well,
yeah, I can't. I just can't. I'm gonna wait for somebody that I know.
I'm not smart enough.
Is smart enough to read it.
That's
all I'm gonna say. I know that it might hurt people's feelings that a lot of people like him, but he's just here in the last couple weeks. I've seen him go off and say stuff that I'm like, why are you picking that hill?
Right.
And he said something, and Greg's like, I'm not here. I'm not going to. I think the tweet said, I'm not going to defend all the work that I've done over the last 10 years with you. And I was just like,
there you go.
I mean, that is something, if you're going to do, I mean, you would think that you would probably do that behind the scenes. If you were going to call somebody out, like Greg, if you were to start a fight with Greg, you would probably reach out to him. I wouldn't, if Greg did something I didn't like, I would hit him up. I wouldn't fucking go on Twitter and say something about, I just wouldn't. So Yeah, I won't. I'm just not gonna. Anywho.
Hmm?
What else has been going on, Kevin?
What else did I send you? I forgot what I sent you. Nah, hold on.
You sent me like a I think my very good friend Bill Tarling sent me, he sent me a video of bread or some pictures of bread. He posted on Facebook that he had made bread.
Yeah.
Then he sent me a 990 for Truth Initiative.
Truth Initiative. Bloomberg attacks smoke-free world. We had that
Yes.
one.
Well, I want Derek Yacht is, I've been working on him on Twitter too, and he sort of already agreed, like in general, that he would do podcasts this year.
Good.
Didn't say yes, I'll come on your show, but he responded to a tweet and said, "Yeah, I really, Derek, I need to get Derek on because I want to discuss all this nonsense with the guy."
Yeah.
Obviously, we've had multiple people on the show that have taken money from Smoke Free World, and we know for a fact that that Smoke Free World has not interfered with their work. We know that.
No.
The people that we've had on the fucking show would not lie to us.
No. That goes back to Senator Hughes' statement that she doesn't understand why they're so angry, and that's why they're angry. They're not in control. When the study comes out, they can get it first, and they can go, well, we wanted to say this before or after, whichever, which we know, and then they can make the narrative what it is. When someone else is in charge of that science, data, research, whatever, and they put it out, they don't have the very first narrative. They don't have the breaking story, if you will, and they're pissed because they're not in control of the conversation.
Yeah.
That's what the problem is. And money, of course, and all that.
Well, I mean, obviously we had Marwa on talking about how difficult it is for her to get anything published.
Yep.
That they've essentially set up an entire fucking wall around her so that she can't get anything published. Even stuff that, because she's the section editor for the Harm Reduction Journal for tobacco. And they're even trying to prevent her from getting people that she has nothing to do with. She's just, publishing their shit and having difficulty finding people to do peer review. Oh, well, I don't want to get involved with your blackball. Well, that sounds gross. That sounds dirty. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's academic malfeasance going on. People trying to build a wall around science, and only their science is allowed to be out in the world. It is the worst type of otherism. We talk about being othered on the show. Well, your science is different than our science, so you have to go over there, and we're never going to even acknowledge that you exist.
Patrick, hey, by the way, in case you didn't know, and I'm going to link it now, there's something called Safer Nicotine Wiki.
Oh, I do. And I already knew about this. I actually tweeted about that this week because our very good friend Skip is one of the people behind this thing that Kevin just put into the chat room. There's a link in the chat room, but yeah, I did a couple really cool tweets this week. Damn.
Show them off, big boy.
Well, here I gotta open them. I had to rub them to make them bigger, and so this is the one. This is the one that I believe you were trying to refer to. So, tobacco harm reduction is on display, and being embraced by the masses. Let's talk about tobacco harm reduction. We can offer options to adults and prevent youth use of clean nicotine. Safer is harm reduction. and I tagged Safer Wiki. Is a good first step in that talk, and then the link to the Safer Wiki website. And then there's a picture of me wearing harm reduction shit. This is what I gotta wear all day, dude. This is why my hair is all fucked up all the time. Look at that. That's a welding. That's like, it's not a welding mask.
It looks like it. So that
no,
website,
it's a grind. It's for grinding. I mean, obviously, if it's a welding mask, it would be tinted.
Take them anymore. What do you need to grind them for? So that website by itself is
when I grind.
I don't need to work. So when you look at that website, Safer Wiki, it's a place where it's not going to be someone's theory in general on most of that. So some of it, I'm in there a little bit, but some of this is research. And I've yet to hear anybody who's allegedly an expert, like Senator Hollie Hughes mentioned earlier, dispute any of this. So that's the next part of my phase of fuck yous is, can you dispute this? Is there a problem here that you can show me that's wrong? Is that something?
Well, I'm assuming that if it's a wiki, that means that people can submit stuff.
Yep.
And other people can go in and correct their submissions that are products. It's like wiki. It's a wiki. So, I mean, this is a group effort.
Yeah.
And, we can make it as good as we want to make it, but we have to be active in it. We have to take time to do stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's great. It's one of those things that's ever evolving, and everybody has the opportunity to deal with it. So, hey, I'll since we're talking about Twitter and you're really not helping me out here, I'll show another one. This is this week FDA put out a tweet that says parents and teachers be on the lookout for disposable and stealth e-cigarette products, which can be disguised as backpacks.
Well, yeah.
Backpacks, really? Smartwatches and or gaming devices. Learn more in this blog by the FDA Director of Communications, Kathy Crosby. And there's a picture of the watch vape. I can't remember. There was a couple of them, I think, but this was a mistake. I mean, obviously, this should never fucking happened. So I said, at FDA needs to tell parents to keep an eye on their kids. Really? In other news, water is wet.
Right.
Kids test boundaries. It's the parents' job to watch their kids.
Just mentioned that.
Parents, if your kid is vaping, you need to ask why. Are they stressed? Is it for the buzz? Is it because they're experimenting? # talk to your kids. Don't blame the vape. Because literally, I mean, if the FDA has to put out a fucking alert or an announcement, hey, parents and teachers need to pay attention, watch their kids. Are parents just fucking staking them out in the backyard on a chain? What is the FDA trying to say? That parents aren't doing their jobs? Oh,
pretty much.
I don't disagree with that. I think parents aren't doing their fucking jobs. But
I've said nobody likes to hear it, but that's what I've said.
I guess I should have said, you know what, FDA, slow clap. You're finally on the right page. Yes, it's a parent's job to be parents to their kids. I guess that's what I should have said. But a fucking backpack vape, Kevin? Have you seen a backpack vape? I mean, how many fucking watts can you get out of a backpack vape? Is it a car battery that's in there? I mean, really?
It's our new transportation mode for our stuff.
Literally. Here, I'll throw another tweet up, Kevin.
All right.
I'll throw another one up. I have to ask, why do so-called public health ideologues use the term tobacco control? That choice in language really does shine a light on their motivations. So it's not tobacco reduction, it's not tobacco mitigation, or it's not the conclusion of tobaccos, or it's not the closers of tobaccos. They're wanting to control the tobacco.
Correct.
They aren't interested in tobacco harm reduction.
Correct. About damn time
Yeah.
you called.
I mean,
I'll give you one. I'll find you one in a second. Pick another one.
oh, but wait, there's more.
Fuck it is.
So everybody remembers a couple weeks ago, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, we talked about the city of Jacksonville having a YouTube video that showed a bunch of kids in a classroom bullying a girl in class for being a vapor.
Yeah.
So the video is if you search on YouTube, it is no longer searchable. They unlisted the video because I'm hoping that when we told everybody to report that video, that they did.
Quite a few did.
But instead of removing the video, they unlisted the video because the video is still on their website. And if you go to the website and click on the video, you can actually get you can find the video if you have the link to the video.
Right.
So it's unlisted, but it's still there. It's still on YouTube servers. So I tweeted at them again. I said, hey, City of Jacksonville made a video showing a classroom of kids belittling and bullying a classmate for vaping. It gets reported, and all they do is unlist it. People smoke and vape for nicotine. That helps with pressure and stress. Shame is no solution. Bullying is never a solution. And this was a 2-part tweet. I learned how to do this. I learned how to do a 2-parter. So then I said, maybe you should start a conversation about the reasons why people vape instead of promoting torches and pitchforks in the classroom. Next, you'll be making a video of a classroom of kids picking on the fat kid or the trans kid. Remove the video.
Now go back up. Scroll up just a little. Okay, don't hit the first one again. Now drop. Okay, see to your left there where your little face is, it says add another tweet for the tweeters that don't know it.
Yeah, you can thread it.
You can thread it that way, so you're not putting one tweet at a time out, and you can edit those tweets at the same time.
Yes,
if you want to, or you can switch it. You can copy and paste. You can go back and forth.
And then, very good friend that's in the chat room, Hamish. Hamish says, take a good look at yourself, City of Jacksonville. Poor form. Also understand clean nicotine is only as addictive as coffee. I don't even think it's as addictive as coffee because I will kill a motherfucker in the morning before I have my coffee. I can actually go a little while in the morning and not need my nicotine.
Yep.
So I think coffee might actually be more addictive to me than nicotine. Because my wife doesn't even speak to me in the morning until after I've had my first cup. So I think that I don't know. Hamish might be wrong. I think nicotine is not as addictive as caffeine. So what else do you got something? Oh, you got something because I can see the share stream. Here we go. You need to rub that, Kevin.
Joe. Hang on, let me
rub it.
How's that?
Well, you need to rub it a little bit more. You're old, and it takes a little bit of extra rubbing.
I can't see both screens. Is that better?
Now I can read it.
Joe Gitchell.
Yes.
He's a consultant to Juul.
Uh-huh.
He owns an IP and improvement NRT gum. Keep that in mind. He's with Penny Associates.
Uh-huh.
Tells us this is a good essay. He knows one of the co-authors. He's a colleague. And let him know what you think about it. So I did. I said, I'll bite. I can't see it all because I thought it was paywalled rather. But this is exactly what I like to see: reliable information and choice. Before I read it, I could only see their assessment. So I put my little meme out: public health is the science of an art of preventing disease. I can't talk tonight. Prolonging life and promoting health through organized efforts and informed choices of society. That's the important part: informed choices of society. So he put fair points, because Joe and I have gone back and forth a few times about nicotine itself. So he said, fair points, Kevin. And then he linked it to me because I'm an idiot. And I said, oh, duh, I thought it was paywalled. And then in that, and I'll link the ethics of tobacco harm reduction analysis to you guys here in a second. It's got tax in there, but it's actually a pretty good overall assessment of what should be happening to us. It's not perfect. None of them will ever be perfect. I didn't know any of the three people that wrote it. I didn't recognize them, at least. Maybe you guys might. But in general, it was pretty good. Oh, goodness gracious, Demetrius is in the room.
Yeah, the Greek Budweiser commercial is in the fucking chat room.
I felt my ass muscle. Never mind. Go ahead.
Are you wet now? Is that what you're saying? Should I ask Demi to come on? Will that
There's a tightening? I don't like him when he's behind me. I didn't like him sneaking up on me ever. So that ethics of tobacco harm reduction, anyway, is something that you guys should read and possibly show to lawmakers if you can, if you're in a business. Quite a few good points. I don't like tax. I'm never going to like tax. They can kiss my ass, but there's that. So we don't have anything.
Dimitri says that you and him have a thing, and I shouldn't hate on him. I don't. I love Demetrius. You know, I give Demetrius all the credit. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here.
Right. So,
you know, we always love to thank Demetrius, because Demetrius gets a lot of fucking, like, people bash on Dimitri. He was, I was looking at a thread that was, you know, people were bashing on, he was making some sort, it had nothing to do with like his vaping products or whatever. And people were like, getting on his dick on Facebook about Inikin Well, I need to find a reliable place to buy Inikin products. He's like, dude, there's a fucking website here. Inikin. You know, I was just like, shit. So yeah,
one of the most common sense, and I'm not saying it because he's here, one of the most common sense things I saw from him was around 2014 or 15, and I don't remember, but I didn't watch reviewers, and that's what I thought he was at the time. And his dick can handle it. And there was a discussion he was having with screenshots and such, and I was like, oh wow. So that gave me a completely different view of, and it was a subject I was concerned about.
Yeah.
And among other things, I got schooled pretty well just sitting in the audience. So
yeah, no, Demetrius, you know, like, if there's drama that I'm involved with, people like to, like, in the past, people have tried to drag Demetrius into our drama. You know, if I say something about, you know, some fucking whacked out attorney, vape attorney on the show, or I did an entire show fucking dragging Senator Duncan Hunter, and some fucking loser attorney decides to pipe up and makes, you know, first he made comments about ethics. Then we started looking all over the internet and found screenshots of him making racist, misogynist comments. Obviously, we found the story of him shooting a fucking crossbow at his neighbor's house and being, you know, his ethical violate. You know, we've got collections of fucking screenshots. You know, he says he's going to write a book. I am so glad that I will be able to read that book. But yeah, I mean, you know, this whole fucking vaping thing, as much as I really hate the vast majority of vapors, but I will fight for this fucking industry to save smokers until I die. We'll lose. We'll fucking start the biggest black market in the world to help smokers. And eventually, one day in the future, 100 years from now, Vaping will be in every store in the world because we fucking fought for it. And even though right now it looks pretty fucking dark, I mean, UPS and FedEx and USPS and all this other bullshit and PMTAs, like I said a while ago, doesn't matter if you got a fucking PMTA if you can't ship product. Doesn't matter.
And I don't know, and I'm not versed in the stock market, but this week's little GameStop thing.
My God, I don't pay attention. I saw like GameStop or Robinhood or something, and I'm, vapors.
It gave me hope for us.
Vapors are like political experts.
Well, yeah.
They're fucking they're day trader experts.
Jimmy Demetrius just said something about that today, I think.
And they fucking they're Facebook like experts on everything.
Well, I'm not.
And I didn't realize that the vaping industry was so learned.
No, I didn't either.
I mean, obviously I do know people that are in the vaping industry that used to be in the banking industry. And I know that there are people that are in the vaping industry that are actually day traders. But I see people talking about Doge coins and, vape bros talking about what's the other cryptocurrency that everybody like. I don't have any of that shit.
All I know
Bitcoin.
is
Bitcoin. I see people talking about Bitcoin and mining. I have no idea.
Little guy got in up under somebody's ass. That's all I care. I don't care about it. I don't have anything to do with it.
It was a bunch of guys on like Reddit that had found out that I kind of got an idea that had found out that there was going to be a short sale and people were going to buy a bunch of stock in, was it GameStop at like $2 a share, and they had, I don't know what it is, and then they were going to sell it at $15 a share or something. I just really don't fucking know. And that's not my world.
PG gives you multiple PhDs.
Yeah.
So I'm SPEI.
Yeah, I know that Demetrius was on another show earlier. I saw like a dealio that like we were competing. I guess we were competing with another show, like a DIY show or something. I don't know which show he was on, but I think that the reason he's online is because that show must be over now or something. But yeah, I'll send him the link if he wants to come and hang out for a little bit. We had the best 48 minutes in vaping podcast ever with Senator Hollie Hughes. We had planned for a little bit longer, and thank God she loved us enough that she's going to come back. But I'm still on cloud 9 from that. That 48 minutes. What I'll do, Kevin, is I will download that and chop that first 48 minutes and splice the outro at the end and just republish that first 48 minutes because that's gold.
Offering me smoking advice. Have you ever smoked? No. Then shut up.
That was brilliant. That was,
I love.
I've actually when I announced that she was going to come on, I got messages from people like, "How did you get her?"
Oh, stop!
I fucking messaged her.
You asked.
I just said, "Hey, would you like to come on and talk about vaping and give me your personal story, and we'll talk about the Senate Select Committee on nicotine or on tobacco harm reduction, and we'll, blah blah blah." And that's all I did. That's literally all I did. Some of the other people that we've had to have, I did end up having to go through her PA to get the time set up and stuff, and there was some media people. There was a media, but. It wasn't like when I was trying to get Joe Jurgensen and I got the runaround from her for like 2 months. But yeah, it was great. It was great. Here, we'll bring in Kevin's meatballs.
You're gonna make me hold on a second. I can't hear you. Get my rig back on.
Keep talking about him until he's ready.
Well, he can hear with one ear now. I think he's got one of them in.
Oh shit! Hold on.
No, he doesn't.
I got you. I can hear you now.
Oh, okay.
What's
See,
up,
now he
bitches?
can hear us. What's up?
By the way, congratulations on having the guest. I didn't watch it. I was on with Fresh had invited me to come on today. So, but I'm looking forward to watching the replay.
The 48 minute. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, that was the best 48. I mean, we've had some amazing guests on in the last 6 months or so, and every one of them have been amazing. But having her, I mean, after watching the actual clips and the video of the actual committees, I mean, she's a fucking senator that vapes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she believes,
and having her on for 48 minutes as well too is amazing, because usually they'll give you like 5 minutes, you know.
Yeah, she was. I mean, she is so passionate about vaping, and she's not willing to take their BS answers. And you know, she spoke it like it was, like it is.
That's great.
So yeah, I mean, it was. I am so proud of that 48 minutes. I mean, I'm proud of every show that we've done in the last. I'm proud of every show that we've
Just
ever
having
done.
Kevin on here, you should be proud. I mean, he's a warrior.
But yeah,
It ain't easy, Davey. You know.
He puts up with my shit.
I look forward to us getting banned 2021 to whoever decides to take that shitty ass job that should be eliminated, the U.S. Surgeon General's office.
Hey, how many days have we gone without a Surgeon General now?
Yeah, Kevin's starting to look a little sick. I think we need to fill that position quickly. I'm going to message the Biden administration. But it's funny. I will tell you though. Again, I don't like to get political. I hate them both, but I just said this in the other show that Biden we're getting something ready with Phil Busardi. You're going to see it here in the next few days, and I want people to really share it. But the Biden administration has said they're going to lead by science multiple times, right? It's multiple times. It's not once. We have it documented now.
Mm-hmm.
So if the public has such a huge distrust in them with the COVID situation, as they should, it's a great opportunity for us. So until they disprove me, I'm going to keep fighting. And then when they disprove me, I'm going to get on Twitter, and then eventually I will be banned. That's going to be my my long-term plan. But we need to get smart people in those offices as these positions are being filled, especially the trio that really concerns us with HHS and CDC and FDA, right? As soon as these positions now HHS has now and CDC has, but excuse me, CDC has, HHS is going to be filled, and FDA commissioner is going to be appointed at some point. As soon as these positions get filled, we really need to get some people in there in those offices to plead the case of this administration promised to lead with science, and you are appointed in that position, which requires science to make decisions. And hopefully something good will come out of it. We might not be able to ship it, but hopefully at least we'll be able to, say that it's less harmful than cigarettes.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I've been saying on the show is that obviously our stories are important. The vape shop stories are important, but I think since he said we're going to lead with science, why don't we fucking we have amazing tobacco harm reduction scientists. Why don't we just, obviously now during the COVID and everything, everybody's sort of used to Zoom now. We have scientists that are willing to get on Zoom and appear at these hearings. Why don't we just fucking bring the scientists?
Yeah, because there's the way that the system is constructed or rigged, whichever way you want to see it. The current pathway for us, there's nothing there for harm reduction. So as long as there's nothing there, there's not a new division created under the CTP for alternative nicotine products, we're not going to win. Even if PMTAs are granted, we're not going to win. Which, again, that's debatable. That's a topic for another show. But even if PMTAs are granted, we're not, because the next thing that's going to happen, even if PMTAs are granted, then it will go into the wholesale distribution and sale and taxation of these products through certain channels as well too, which is going to eliminate again the majority. So there is no winning scenario down this path as it stands. We can win a small fight, we can win another small fight, but at the end we're going to lose because of the pathway, because of this structure of what the tobacco process is in America with the PMTA. So my only hope is that if you're going to lead by science, then you're going to understand that this product is not tobacco and it requires its own category under the Center of Tobacco Products. So even though we'll have it under the umbrella of the Center for Tobacco Products, it should be an alternative nicotine delivery section. That's the only win for and that's going to require Congress. That's going to require HHS. It's going to require a lot of pieces. But that really is the only pathway that I see that we're going to ultimately win. As it stands right now, even if we win one small little, we're going to lose in the end. And it sounds grim, but again, it's just the reality. I mean, I can lie to you and tell you everything's going to be okay. You should go buy Buddy Bros juice, but it's not.
The 516-page final guidance thing. Have you finally read the whole thing? Is there anything?
Yeah, I've read it twice.
Is there anything new in there? I mean, obviously, I think
there's nothing. It's everything that we expected. There's nothing. I mean, there's a few things on the scientific end that we're taking and we're using in at least the PMTAs that I'm doing, as far as testing and stuff like that. But I mean, basically, they looked at the comments and said, "Okay, no, we're not going to do this. We're not," as expected, right? So there's nothing really new within there. The only thing that we've noticed is that they're paying attention to, for those of you that are doing PMTAs that might be listening, they're paying a lot of attention to quality control in the manufacturing of your product, SOPs, and standard operating procedures, recalls, traceability. They're paying a lot of attention to that, which part of this document as well too. And so those of you that submitted PMTAs, I suggest that you do some amendments and tighten those up, meaning what you've submitted for your quality control. And then what we noticed is a little bit on the testing. Again, they're making some recommendations, but ultimately it goes back to what we said 3 or 4 years ago. We should have had the industry come up with an industry standard as far as testing is concerned, and we all did the same thing and we all submitted. That way, what they're saying inside is ultimately it's the stakeholders' responsibility to provide the testing and then justify why. Because the FDA can't tell you, I want you to test it 17 times. Well, how do you know? FDA's never done testing on liquid, right? So, but the industry can come in and say, hey, look, we're not a cigarette. We don't have to do 7 repetitions. We don't have to do all these. We can do this test, this test, this test based on this existing model. And our justification is, our protocol is because of this. We don't have to test for these HPHCs because they're non-existent in our liquid. We can only test for this. In that document, it actually does say that, right? So it's a little bit more clear. Now we're, again, I don't know if you remember when I said when the PMTA's discussion started, I told you that we're going to need liquid testing and aerosol testing, and everybody told me to go fuck myself, as always, and that's okay. I'm used to it. My dick is big, like you said. Anybody rides it, they can ride it. They can use it as a springboard, but and go fuck themselves. But aerosol testing is required.
Yeah.
But we have a little clearer picture now, so we made some adjustments to the protocol, and at least for the liquids that I'm submitting, for my clients, I'm going back to the lab. They have the liquids there already because they've been doing stability testing, and we're doing some aerosol testing as well too. And we're amending we did liquid HPHC testing, stability testing, and now we're amending it to add the aerosol testing as well too. So we're trying to give them as much as possible. But again, at the end of the day, like I'm saying, like we're going to get a PMTA. If we can't ship it, what are we going to do with it? If we get a PMTA and then the states say, okay, well, the PMTA approved products can be sold here, but they have to go through special distribution channels. Yeah. Meaning they can say existing tobacco wholesale licensors because they want to be able to tax it.
Yeah. What
are we going to do then? Right? So it's going to make the price of the bottle of liquid expensive. So, yeah. It was 516 pages of misery for me. But,
yeah. I mean, I think that if you go back through Demetrius's old shows, he did one with Chris Howard.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still stuff in there that's valuable. People should watch that.
Very relevant.
And you did a PMTA show.
Yes.
Maybe
I did multiple of those as well too. I don't understand why people. I mean, I understand why, because it's not fair. I get that. I understand that.
Nothing is fucking fair.
But don't take your frustration out on me. I did not write the Tobacco Control Act.
No,
you know,
no, you're still riding around in the private jet though, and
I just find it funny. People take it out on me. It's not like I'm trying to get my clients to have an advantage over you. No, I'm just a good consultant. I'm going to tell them the truth, and they can make a decision. If somebody that I work for tells me I don't want to do testing, I can't force them. I mean, but if they ask me my opinion, I'm going to say, look, I read, and based on what I read, and our legal counsel that we consult with Keller and Heckman, we think that you should do this. And then if you're going to do this, you have a couple options. We can do it to this level. We can do it to this level. And then we can do it to this level. What do you want to spend? Where do you want to go? There you go. Plain and simple. And some people don't like that. Like some people take offense to that. Like it's my fault. But I mean, a PMT is a very serious thing. And it's just, it's not the right pathway for this product.
No.
Period.
No.
Streamline that was promised by Czar shot down right in that document. You know, I mean, they just completely dismissed it there. So the FDA is saying, just come at us and just bring to us. And it's vital for this industry to all do the same thing, or at least be on the same page for the majority of the scientific submission. Because if all the companies would do it, then the FDA cannot say that this is not the industry standard. But if out of the 5,000 PMTAs that we submit, I'm just giving you a number, 200 have done the scientific testing and 4,800 have not, then they're going to say the industry standard is you don't do shit.
Yeah.
So yeah. And look, I understand some people can't afford it. I mean, I get it. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I mean, it sucks. I hate it, but you know, it's still an unfair law. Keep selling as much as you can, create a black market. I don't care what you're going to do. I'm not telling you to go out of business, but
well, somebody said that you were buying a submarine. Somebody said that you were buying a submarine.
It was tossed around. It was tossed around.
A missile silo.
I heard tossed around as well too. I think the missile silo is a really good idea. I don't know. Do laws count underground? Like, is there a certain depth that you can go?
Well, it's 12 miles. I think it's 12 miles offshore.
Kevin, can you
international waters?
What if you go 12 miles down?
I'm gonna have to talk to Jerry for all legal advice.
Can you?
No, Jerry don't mean shit now. He's done. He's unemployed.
Can you look into this, Kevin? I think there might be a depth that we are, but yeah, I mean, we joke around, but we might have to do it at some point. I think what I was just telling Fresh over there is like, us that are in this industry, we have to keep these products in the hands of people, whatever it takes, right? We have to keep the products in the hands of smokers. I mean, in ex-smokers and those that want to convert. So we'll do whatever is done. We'll do it. Yeah. So, but on the other hand, we also have to get the American public to understand that you should not trust your government because of COVID, because of a volley, because of all these games that they're playing. And guess what? Vaping is better than smoking as well too, because your government's lying to you on this as well too. So this is the perfect opportunity. This COVID thing is the perfect opportunity. There's so much distrust in the way that our government handled COVID in all scales. I'm talking from local health departments all the way to the president, right? So I think a lot of people are so confused, and people have died simply because there's just bad misinformation from the government. So perfect timing.
I saw. Are you getting good 5G coverage now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, I got a vagina growing in my butt from the.
I'll get out.
I was fine. This was the first dose that I took, and the second day my arm was. I've had vaccines in the past, so it was the same thing. I just had a little pain in my arm the second day. I went and worked out this morning, so I was fine. So,
I mean, I've had both of my shots. I mean, I work in healthcare, so
right.
I mean, it was offered. It was not forced upon us. You know, I saw people. Oh, well, you had to. No, I didn't have to get it. I volunteered, and I got my shot in front of 150 senior citizens so that they knew that I wasn't that it wasn't, my arm wasn't going to fall off. They've been reading and seeing and hearing that all this bullshit. I mean, it's a fucking shot that unless it's like heroin that they're shooting into you, that no little tiny shot like that is going to kill you. Well, I mean, I guess it could, but
it possibly could. Yeah, but at least it's 99% less harmful than it's just like vaping.
Yeah,
but I was the same way. They didn't force it. We were doing senior. I'm part of the. I'm the first class in 2008 that graduated for the Caduceus Emergency Response Team, and so I volunteer through the year when I can, whenever they need me. But sometimes they just call you in for stuff like that. So we have a big crowd come in. We need people to take temperatures, help the senior citizens, get them in and stuff like that. So my team was called to go. And the first day we had 700 vaccines, and yesterday we did 1,000. But the first day when we had 700 vaccines, there were 3 left over. Like 3 people didn't show up, and they throw them away. The Moderna, you can't keep them, right? When they come out, you have to administer them. So the first day they said we'll give the emergency responders first choice. Anybody wants to? And I raised my hand. I was lucky I got picked. To me, I was appreciative that I had the opportunity to do it. So yeah, and when I got the shot, and then I'll get another one in a few weeks, and then I'll have like a little thing in my phone that says that I've had the vaccine, which will help me with my travel as well too, I think, ultimately. But people, even today, people don't believe COVID is real. It's a hoax, that microchips, and people believe this stuff, and that's simply because of the way that the government has handled this situation. It's not really that these people are dumb. It's just that they don't trust the government. Nope. So if you don't trust them on this, why would you trust them on vaping? Mm-hmm. That's my point. Imagine if we can get that on mainstream media. If we can get some of some interviews out there where somebody brings that up, that's going to get people at least thinking, and they might go a little research, and they find you don't know nicotine, or they'll find stuff out there that says, oh man, look at that. And that might change some perceptions. But unless we change that perception, what is a PMTA going to do? What is anything going to do? Nothing is going to help us unless we get under this tobacco stigma. And can you imagine trying to get that through Congress right now? It's crazy. Oh, and as far as the mail ban and all that, it's just so much rumors going around.
That's what I said. Is I don't know anything. This is what we've heard. I was in a Zoom call with Florida Smoke Free yesterday, and somebody was saying that they were told directly by UPS that there was a hold on new business accounts on UPS. I don't know anything.
So easily skirted by making a business that doesn't say vape anywhere. If I take a new mod and I send it to Kevin and I label it glass dildo, and nobody. It's
well, he might already have one.
Possibly happen though, Kevin. I'm just saying it might have some molds made. But nobody would. This is what I'm saying. This happens every day. Products like that are shipped across the United States. So it's
I can guarantee you the biggest distribution for marijuana or illicit drugs in the United States is through the Postal Service.
Of course it is.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So, it's not legal. They're not supposed to be carrying those.
I've gotten weed from the mail from just in December. I took it to Greece, some weed pens for a friend of mine. So yeah, it happens all the time. So again, I'm just saying, just don't panic. Don't go crazy. Don't we'll just let the water clear up, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's all sorts of other shit that we got to worry about. Obviously, like I said a while ago, if there is some sort of like blanket ban, if FedEx has voluntarily said we're not going to carry vape shit, if UPS says that they're not going to carry vape shit, and then we already know USPS is not going to carry vape shit, if you just put on your label shipping department,
Yes. Today, ironically, I get a call from FedEx. I've gotten products from China since 2011. Today, I get a call from FedEx. Anakin sending me the final prototype on a product that we've been working on, and it's just 2 pieces in this, right? And I get a call from FedEx asking questions, and I said, I didn't want to answer because I didn't know what to answer. I was like, contact the shipper. But I said, these are. I said I do R&D for this company. These are sample prototypes. These are not commercial products. And they said, well, we need like the address or something. I was like, contact the shipper. Don't bother me because I didn't want to give them the wrong address. I didn't know where they shipped it from, if it was from home. But today was the first time that happened. So that's a little bit scary. But it could happen. It could happen. All of them say, we're just not shipping it. That doesn't mean they're going to stop shipping. They'll take your money. Trust me. FedEx and UPS and all these companies, and USPS as well, too. They will take your money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe that the person at the UPS store, that if you just go to drop off packages, I don't think they give a fuck what's in there. I think if you hand packages to somebody at the counter at the post office, I don't think they give a shit what's in there. They never ask me questions about when I go to ship something, and obviously I'm not shipping vape products, but they don't ask me what's in the box. They just put postage on it and put it in a little cart and it disappears.
Has Phil ever once had any trouble shipping his swimming trunks to you at all?
Never. Ever. Always so delicious like mozzarella.
I think if you just use your fucking head, I think everything would be fine. That's for a while. Obviously, we've seen warning letters over the past 2-3 weeks, something like that, of people. I'm assuming because most of the people that I know that got the warning letters have been in the business for a while. They're not new people. They're getting warning letters. I'm assuming these are people that did not submit it at PMTA.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my only thing is, a lot of people thought, well, you know what, we're not going to file a PMTA and we're just going to fly under the radar and keep doing business until they hit us. And I believe that's who they're hitting. I mean, I'm looking at people, and everybody that I know that's gotten a warning letter has been people that have been responsible so far. None of these people had fucking childish labels that I can think of. And it just has to be the fact that they're selling products that they didn't submit a PMTA for. I mean, that's what I think it is.
Yeah. I agree.
So, I mean, it sucks because a lot of these people I know are good people. But yeah, I mean, this is the fucking hurdle that you were supposed to jump over to stay in the race for a little bit longer. And if you chose not to do it, I mean, I have sympathy for you, but it is what it is. I mean, this is the reality that we live in right now.
And
it's not our fault. It's not my fault. What do you want me to do? I mean, I don't know what you want me to do. I have people reaching out to me and they're like, can you help? I was like, okay, yeah, it's going to be, $1,400 for stability test, $3,400 for HPHC, and never hear back. What do you want me to do? That's the cost. I don't know. That's what the lab charges.
Hey, you don't have a fucking, you don't have a lab behind that door behind you. There's no,
my lab is the cheapest.
There's no mass spec back there somewhere.
My lab is the lab that I use is in Greece. It's the cheapest that you're going to find. And people blame me I don't say they don't understand that this is happening in a lab where chemists are capturing vapor and then they're analyzing. They don't understand. It's not some vape bro, just copy and paste.
Dude, I know that there's vape companies that got guys that have name tags that say chemist.
Yes.
I know that there's vape shops or vape businesses or vape manufacturers that got guys. They have a lab coat that says chemist. They may not actually have any paperwork on the wall that says that they went to college to be a chemist, but
they were a barista at Starbucks before, and they confused it.
They're a mixologist or whatever, but they got the word chemist on the. You might have to explain to them there's a difference between that kind of chemist and the chemist, PhD chemist.
Got it.
Analytical chemist or whatever,
Yeah,
so if I watched one of your shows, Demi, 7 years ago, and then I want to contact you, you won't give me a discount either, will you?
No, I would not. No. I would not. But I want people to go watch. Just the other day, I happened to fall on the VP Live round table that we used to do with Stephanie Farrars in 2015.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we're talking about 2014, and we're talking about labels in that show.
Child labels?
Yeah, in 2014, man. I was like, man, one day I said one day we're gonna see this shit in some fucking congressional hearing. Motherfucker, look at that! Imagine that.
Well, they won't be able to tell it's you because you are half the size that you used to
Fuck
be.
the Simpsons. I can predict the future. Me and the Simpsons. That's all you should be listening to. You know. Yeah, man. I want people to go back and listen to that because a lot of this stuff we've repeated it so much that I'm tired of saying it. But
dude, we did a podcast back in the Vaping Militia Radio days, and it was called Blueprint for Destruction, and I went through like 20 things that we could do that would easily crush the industry, and the motherfuckers in the industry were listening because they did everything that I said not to do on that show.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, it only gives you self-validation, but ultimately it's sad and it's tragic because you love this industry and you see it going to shit and you try your best to help. And not only does it not work, but you ruin friendships and people turn on you and there's hatred and people take it personally and then they attack you personally and all that. It's a lot of burden. I mean, it really... I mean, I know it's weighed a heavy toll on my soul, honestly. And I mean, you guys know because you've been around, but I've been dragged through the mud, and I'm still here, smiling and still doing my thing, and my integrity is intact. But man, I've been through some dark times in this industry, and
that shit was fucking with your health too.
Absolutely. In fact, that's when I decided to lose weight as well too, because I was getting out of hand. But man, that's sad. It's tragic because ultimately we're all losing what we wanted to do, and that is to help smokers and thrive in this industry, and we're just not getting it. And so that's a little bit depressing.
Yeah,
I didn't want to depress you. Had a good show today. I don't want to depress you.
Well, I mean, as soon as Hollie had to go, when Senator Hughes had to go,
yeah, you should cut that piece out, by the way. You should make that a 45. How long she was, you need to cut
48
that out.
minutes, yeah.
You need to cut that out by itself. Not because I'm on, just in general. That should be something short.
I'll do part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, that's what you should do. By the way, Paul Blaumeyer says that he has put ball grease on the packages that he has sent. Like if I would get a package from Paul called ball grease, I'd be concerned. I would send it to the FDA to have it scanned first before I open it.
Did you check this for explosive devices?
Here, Phil, something came for you.
I'll send it to the
revised explosive devices.
Have it tested before I vape it.
It will be TPD compliant.
Yes.
Ball grease.
Yes, and it's funny. We're doing some. The UK is leaving now. With the Brexit and all that, and they're changing the laws, and everybody again is up in everybody's an expert on it. And the bill that was released doesn't say anything. They're just changing some terminology or whatever, setting up the pieces for the next stage of what's going to happen. But everything that's going to happen in the UK is going to be great for the vapors. It's going to be great. Simply because the government really believes that vaping is helping their people quit smoking, and they're making more money. The UK government is making more money by not treating tobacco-related illnesses simply because of their healthcare system. So they absolutely love it.
We've come to that point where it's going to start showing that, and that's what's happening.
Yes. So even more so, if they're seeing the benefits now, imagine the long-term benefits. So they're going to get behind it. They're going to help. The only thing that UK should be concerned about is monopolies, because usually when you come out of an exit like that, then they're all for it, but they only want to have it for a few.
Right.
So that's the only thing that people should be concerned about. And some players, obviously, big players are trying to do that, but also some big players from within this industry. Again, can't say much more than that, but some big players from our industry, meaning the independent vapor industry, are trying to make a play. So you got to be careful for that.
Yeah.
But again, misinformation, you know how it is. Rumors. I read it here. I saw a link, on patriotsofamerica.com. I saw that it's a very valid website. Yeah, I read it on MeWe or on Parler or something like that. Yeah.
Not mypresident.com.
Not mypresident.com. Yeah. Look, man, somebody won, somebody lost. Let's move on. There's so much thing to worry about right now. It's just like I see people even now continuing the vitriol and the hate, and I'm like, damn, man, look,
you fucking lost, dude. Come on.
I saw these senior citizens that were coming these past 2 days that I was helping out. Yesterday, I was in intake where I was doing temperature control, checking the temperature, and then asking a few questions and then guiding them. They come in, these are all 65 and above. And you see they're so nervous and scared and the fear in their eye. I feel so bad. And you try to be as gentle as you can. I mean, you work in healthcare, you know how it is. But, there's so much going on in our lives right now. Like, are you really concerned about Hillary Clinton? Like, who is she? Just like it's fucking 10 years ago. And I see people are like concerned about like genuinely making threads and adding YouTube links. And, it's like about like, really, is that your biggest concern for your family? My kids are fucked up, man. My kids are psychologically screwed with this pandemic. They're afraid to go outside. They're afraid to interact. Don't you think that there's so much more in life right now you should be worried about than worrying about the political ploy? What are you going to do? Are you going to change it because you made a Facebook post? Your Facebook post is really going to influence, legislation? Or do you think that person is going to, oh my God, that Bubba Vapor over here wrote on his Facebook post, they say, we have to change policy.
Don't use my synonym.
That's your nom de plume, Kevin? Bubba the Vapor?
Bubba the Vapor. That's Kevin. That's Kevin's alter ego, Bubba the Vapor.
Bubba the Vapor.
Bubba the Vapor.
So you could get the unsalted line in the UK.
The number one unsalted line,
no.
the peach watermelon?
No.
Not even the number one bestseller?
Not yet. No. We're trying to make a deal for it, but whatever. It's liquid is just so difficult right now. It's just such a pain in the ass. We did it more of a, kind of like a side thing because we were just trying to actually take a stab at the salt nicotine. That's really the only reason why we did it. It's still selling good. I mean, but to just chasing liquid it's just everybody has a liquid line now. It's very, very difficult.
Kevin and I don't have a line. We should have a line, Kevin.
Should have a line.
We should figure out. We should figure out an e-liquid line. Well, I mean, obviously, because the black market. We should.
Fuck yeah. We'll mix it right there on Kevin's couch.
Yeah.
Right here on the
his
table.
wife.
Right there,
his wife is a fucking DIY
live
queen now.
That's going to be our thing. It's like every time you place an order, Kevin will mix it live on camera and have like a cat running around, changing the baby's diaper next to it as well. It's going to be so great. It's going to be fantastic.
Do it right there on the diaper. What do they call that thing where they change the diaper? The diaper stand or changing table. You put your mixing table right beside the changing table, and then
on the changing table. Fuck it, get the baby some nicotine too. I said, calm him down a little bit.
Just rub it on his gums like Ambisol or
focus from a young age. Get him hooked. We need future customers, Kevin. I mean, if we convert all the smokers, we ain't gonna have no customers.
That's right.
Shit.
Somebody's gonna fucking clip that shit. You know that.
Probably will.
It's gonna be soundbite now.
I don't give a shit. I really
Demetrius is promoting giving nicotine to.
Yeah, there you go.
My zero fucks filter is done.
Hey, dude, is there a reliable place where I can buy Anakin products online?
Yeah, it's called AnakinGoFuckYourself.com. You can use coupon code KissMyGreekAss for 10%.
I like that Phil guy better. He's a lot more congenial.
He is. It feels like the Switzerland of vaping. He's like, he doesn't want to piss anybody off.
The thing is he's always. I mean, my thing about Phil is Phil gives too much. He cares too much about what people think.
Yes, absolutely. But he's a DJ. What do you expect? I mean, he's an entertainer. That's the way he's always been. Even me, sometimes when I reply to a message somewhere, he's messaging me. He's like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, I'm sorry. I just don't give a fuck anymore. I can't. I can't. I have lost my patience. I can't. Just today, somebody wished me to get cancer on my Facebook page. I mean,
That's
you
wonderful.
can't even make that joke. Like that's not even a jokeable joke, right? I mean, I have a really dry sense of humor. I would never make that joke. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody actually did.
That's fucking cold blooded
on my
right
Facebook. And they might have been joking as well too. But do you make that kind of joke? You know, my mom died from cancer. You know, that's fucking brutal. So that's what I'm saying is like I don't care anymore. If you're going to come at me, then I'm going to come at you. And if you can't handle it because I'm Dimitri and I'm supposed to be like this, you know, polite god that sits on top of the vaping world.
We all know that's not true.
I mean, just you know, you're in for a rude awakening, and I'm just blocking people left and right. You know, it's just I'm done. Just the other day, somebody I blocked. I forget. I blocked so much I forget who it was, but some fucking douchebag put. I was making some post and it just completely irrelevant. He's like, oh, I can't wait till Jewel hires you. Jewel,
can I get some of that fucking money?
Let me tell you something. Number one, Jewel's broke. Number two, if there's a list of potential employees at Jewel, I am really at the bottom of it.
I seem to remember a very harsh conversation in Austin.
I have caused Jewel so much heartache. You will not just in Tennessee, but worldwide, actually. You know, I've caused Jewel. But if they're willing to pay me what I'm asking for, if they pay me more than what I'm making with Inikin and my vape shops in Greece and my consulting combined times 3, I love Jewel. It's a fucking great product. Fucking give me that 50 milligram intravenously right now. I'll shoot it in my arm like a fucking heroin addict. Just Jewel here. I'll have jewels coming out of my ass.
Well, how do you get it from your arm to your ass?
I'll connect them. It's like straws. Have you ever put straws together? I'm gonna put fucking jewels together.
You got one of those like bank things where you put the thing in the canister and it goes.
By the way, if you put 2 jewels together, do you get 100 milligrams of nicotine? Like if you hit. Kevin.
Back on.
Kevin.
Kevin's gonna break out his fucking
project for you, my friend. So if I had I bought these disposables the other day. I want to talk about them in just a second. But if I have 50 here and 50 here,
that's 100.
If I put it like that and I suck on it, I'm getting 50 from the bottom and then 50 from the top. So I'm assuming that's 100. Or is it 50 combined of just 2 different?
I'll just say yes. I have no freaking idea.
Half the people in the industry would say yes.
Yeah, somebody's going to reply. Going to be like, "Oh, yeah, sorry. You know, if I did the calculations correctly, you know, you're only getting 50 milligram because the law of physics says." And I saw on this YouTube and I read on Parlor that if you put them together, it's still 50.
Let me adjust my armchair.
Yeah, these were sucky. These, but what happened is I went for a motorcycle ride. And I left like 11 o'clock from the house. I only took a Scepter with 1 pod filled. It was just a gorgeous day. So I stayed out like 6 hours. So, you know, by the second hour, my pod was empty. I didn't have anything with me. That's such a noob mistake, you know. But so, you know, obviously I'm not going to smoke. I went to the gas station and I said, give me a couple of these pop disposables. I got a banana ice and a peach ice cream. And they're horrible. I mean, they taste like shit.
Yeah, take them apart. I'm sure that the battery and the foam from the pod, because it's probably all built in, integrated in there. There's probably no barrier between the battery connection and the foam that holds the liquid.
I don't know, but it tastes like shit. I mean, I can't say. I mean, it did the job. At least it did the job for me. But flavor wise, it was not good. Plus, they were $20, $10 each.
Holy shit!
I feel like I got ripped off. Really,
dude. Let's start making disposables.
Yeah, listen. Did I ever tell you the idea that me and Phil had in China last year when Juul was very, very popular? I swear to God, this was an actual conversation in an office with a couple marketing guys and an engineer. I had $1 billion idea. I mean, I would have been so rich if I had done that back then. I just didn't have the heart to do it. I should have done it and put it I should have put in Kevin's name. That's what I should have done. Do it and put it.
You give him 20%, you know.
So when Juul was very, very popular, everybody in China was scrambling to compete with Juul. This is before these came out. Keep in mind, okay? So I was just sitting there and vaping in the office, and I was eating some, whatever, duck feet or, whatever Chinese food I was eating. And I turned to Phil and I said, what if we make a disposable, a pod system, and call it Mule?
Yeah, I remember
MUL instead of Joule, and instead of it being in a straight line because we're going to get copyright infringement, we put MUUL and we call it Mule. And instead of 50, we'll put 70 milligram nicotine inside. And then the tagline will be, "It kicks like a mule."
I'd have had those in my ass and in my arms.
So, and we advertise on TikTok, and we make one of these challenges because TikTok challenges is like the cancer of the internet. It's just like everybody's doing it right now, right? So they come up with a challenge like a dance or something like that. So our thing would be you hit the mule and then kick like a mule, and you'd have to do it like on TikTok. Dude, I'm telling you that I would have sold millions of mules.
Yeah.
I mean, for about a year until they shut me down. But in that 1 year, I would make bank.
Yeah.
And then, you know what's funny? Everybody loved the idea.
I thought it was a great. I remember you saying it.
Everybody loved the idea. And then I turned to Phil and I'm like, we can't do it. I mean, can you imagine me and Phil releasing Mule? I mean,
every ass hat on Facebook would be like, "We told you, we told you."
I know, but I'd be laughing at the bank. I don't give a shit. But man,
I can't hear you over my Lamborghini.
That's right. My two Lamborghinis. I'd have all exhausts going at the same time. Make sure I deafen the sound around. Oh my God. I was thinking mule drug smuggler. Yeah, it's good. Whatever. I mean, it would be. It'd be an illegal product anyway. But yeah. Anyway, all good.
Yeah,
all fun. Yeah.
Poor Jewel. They're being sued by school boards across the country. Every time I open the Google alert, Jewel being sued by this school district, or Jewel being sued by that school district.
It's just a premise for them to say, okay, well, Jewel will donate, give 10% of their sales to these schools, and that's all. It's just for them to make money.
Yep.
Hey,
I don't think Jewel will ever make a big comeback in the United States. It just got the minute that it went to the hands of Altria. The other day I was having a discussion again with a person that I can't name, but I was a little bit concerned of why IQOS hasn't launched heavily in America. And of course, my conspiracy theory hat is working overtime. But I thought that what they're trying to do is wait for vape to go away, be eliminated through the process, and then where there's not many options on the market, then you dump the IQOS. And that would be the big, harm reduction, especially if they get, modified tobacco product category nation, MRTP.
Well, I mean, they got the what is it? The modified exposure permission, so they can market as it has fewer chemicals.
But it's it can't be as accurate as they want to on the label. But maybe one day they will. But again, that's what I thought. But then this person that's much more in tune than I am and much more smarter than I am, he said he doesn't think so. He just does not think that it will be adapted in the United States as easy as has adapted in European, Asian countries, which I found very, very interesting. So basically saying that Americans are stupid. Like they wouldn't adapt to. I mean, that's basically what he said. Yeah. That's why I can't say who it is. But he's saying that has the marketing that they've done. They've launched it in Virginia, in North Carolina, and Atlanta, like in 3 test areas. And apparently, I mean, I've never seen anybody use an IQOS in America.
No.
Right?
Nope.
So apparently from those test markets, they might be able to get some data back that says, oops, we spent all this money for PMTA, but it might not just fly here in America. And I think I agree with him. You know, I think I agree with him now that I think about it more. Like now my tinfoil hat comes off and then my business hat comes on. It makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, about a year and a half ago, I made a little Photoshop image of the Juul and the IQOS store, like hybrid. Like I took the IQOS storefront and I put the Juul logo beside it, and like they were, my thought was that they were just waiting for the right time to launch the Juul stores and branded them with the IQOS, and have those two products available. I thought so too. That's where I thought the end game would.
Me too. But guess what? Avail Vapor Smyrna, Avail Vapor Knoxville, both shut down this past week. They closed down. I don't know if the Chattanooga ones. I'm going to go by there tomorrow if the weather's nice with the bike and take a ride. But it looks like they're shutting down as well too. So maybe again, it would make sense to me to do that. But maybe obviously they know better. I mean, they spend millions on market research and marketing and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it's interesting to see.
I don't remember where I heard it. I don't know if it was from you or from, I can't remember, but I heard somebody say that they had estimated about 3,500 vape shops had closed in 2020 in the States.
I think in the last 3 years, that's an accurate number.
Yeah. So I mean,
I saw it from one of these companies that does market research. Again, classified.
So I mean, obviously the pond is getting smaller.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, dedicated vape shops for sure are a dying breed. But you're seeing the hybrid model where they're vaping everything else that's in there, which again gives an option at least for existing vapors to go get stuff. It might not get so many new people, but it'll get existing vapors to go in to get stuff. But as dedicated vape shops, I mean, it's very hard to find them these days. Very, very hard. You go inside, you find everything: glass, you find combustibles, you find all kinds of stuff.
The nearest vape shop to me is in the next town, and about a year and a half ago, they went to a hybrid model, but it was a hybrid model that really didn't annoy the shit out of me because I have a I think you and I agree on this one. I don't like seeing combustible products sold side by side.
Sure.
That really annoys the hell out of me. And I had a conversation yesterday with somebody about it, and I can't, it's against my ideology. I'm so anti-smoking now that I can't stand seeing it.
They don't belong in a shop that's called vape.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just Kevin, what do you call that? That's just grammatically incorrect. if it says vape.
The store over there, they actually opened their vape shop or whatever, and it's called Vape and More, and you go in and they sell
Vape and More. That's a good name. Okay, I'm down.
They sell vape products and Yeti cups.
Okay, I'm down.
And here in Texas, Yeti cups are
because it's hot. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that is an accurate description. But if you say vape shop and you walk inside and flour, stuff like that. That's not an accurate description. It's like me having a Greek Italian restaurant and I'm serving schnitzel. It's not. Wait. I saw the sign. I wanted to get some, moussaka or some hero, and you're serving me, German brost. It's just like it's not accurate. It's misleading.
Do you sell shawarma?
Yeah, do you sell shawarma? I don't sell shawarma. That's not even Greek.
I know it's not.
That would be misleading if I was selling shawarma in a Greek and Italian restaurant. But again, people hate on me because I say this stuff like I'm bashing. I don't give a shit. Who am I to tell you what you're gonna sell? You can sell whatever you want. You can sell Kevin's meatballs. You can sell dill. You can sell whatever you want to. I don't care. But to say that we have a chance moving forward like that, and that harm reduction is going to be, what it was a few years ago, that's just simply not. It's not going to happen, and just forget about it. And guess what? When I went to go buy these from that gas station, this gas station was in Bumblefuck, Tennessee somewhere. It wasn't like in Chattanooga. It was on the top of the mountain that we ride up to, So it was like some neighborhood gas station. They had a whole section of these, like, I mean, big section, from 800 puffs, 1500 puffs, 2000 puffs, big flow, small flow. Like these have become, the latest and the greatest, and you're competing against that in a vape shop as well too. So don't think that you're the only one person that's selling vape products in town. However, every interestingly enough, here's a little interesting fact. In the group that I started riding with the motorcycles, I've met, I don't know, about 50 bikers, and 3 or 4 of them I've seen them use these. They're all dual users, all of them. They smoke and they vape too at the same time.
Been saying for years. Everybody fucking calls us idiots when we say the vast majority of people that buy vape products, whether they're in a vape shop or convenience store products, are dual users. And, there's no denying that.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, when I see this 13 million or 14 million number, I'm like, where are you fucking pulling that number out of your hat? And they're like, oh, well, it was in Altria's stockholders report. I'm like, how can you rely on information from the fucking enemy?
Yeah. Well, they do when it's convenient. When it's not convenient, they don't.
When it says something that they want to hear,
right? Of course,
Of course. Yeah, I mean, it's
you have to be fair and you have to be honest, and it's okay if it's something that's bad about our industry. It is what it is. It's there. We have to acknowledge it. But if we don't acknowledge it, what ends up happening is what's happened so far. We get in trouble. We get these bad labels. We get, all this stuff happens because we don't acknowledge that there's an issue. And you have to just be fair about it and take it as if, even if it's bad, just take it. That's just some of the drawback that comes with this industry. It's not all, it's not all fine and dandy. It's not all harm reduction. It's not all passionate people that want to help people quit smoking. Listen, I have clients. They don't really. I mean, all it is how many thousands of bottles we're going to sell this month. That's it. It's a strictly business. It's just a business. Huge companies that is just business. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't think that it's all, that passion that we have, about harm reduction and helping people quit smoking.
You had the best show you had for me specifically was having Dr. Farsalinos on about the formaldehyde.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to hear the fucking words he was
Absolutely
saying.
Right.
But that was the best show to have. Absolutely.
And the diacetyl, the same thing. When I had Dr. FM, we did that study. People came after me hard. I mean, the suicide bunnies, I got cussed out by them, by a bunch of people in this industry when we did that. And I was like, well, you don't know, you don't want to tell people that it's in there? Is that why?
Yes, we do.
Look at the TBD. Look, I don't have any problem with it being in the liquid, but don't send email to your customers and saying that it's not in there. Mm-hmm. When we tested it and it came back with 1,700 ppms, right? I mean, that was the whole purpose of the testing. The testing never revealed brands, even though brands were purchased randomly from the internet. It just showed that there is a widespread issue of diacetyl in liquids in various levels, and some of the companies were actually sending emails out to their customers saying that it does not contain it, but it did. That is fraud. That is not. It's not. That is, again, like having a vape shop selling cigarettes. It's just misleading, right? But people came after us, but the truth is that you have to be able to hear it, and that there's acceptable levels of everything, even poison. There's acceptable levels. There's acceptable levels of formaldehyde. Now, one of the things we're doing with this new device that we're putting out from Anakin with the Census technology is that we're testing it in the lab. We're trying the coil with a new technology, and then we're looking the levels of what it puts out at 100, 500, 1,000, 2,000 puffs, what that atomizer is going to put out. That way, I'm not saying that I guarantee you no vapor would ever ask that from an atomizer. But if somebody does, I can accurately tell them, hey, look, this is what the lab found. If you care. If you don't care, whatever. And the majority of the people don't care. But if a legislator ever came to me and says, well, we don't know what these things put out.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. And here it is. There you go.
And here it is. And the levels are way below the threshold.
That's the reason I loved that show with Dr. F.
Yeah.
That one enticed me to call. I actually called you. I never called you before.
Yeah.
And I called in on that one specifically. I was very intrigued of what he was going to tell us. I already knew because he put his blog out, but
he got scalded in Greece with nichrome. Oh my God. All these vapors praise him, and then don't talk about the wire that I use. Oh my God. These vapors came out. I'm like, you fucking, he's just giving you the data. You make the decision, whatever the fuck wire you want to use.
Exactly.
You use whatever, but here's the data. This is putting out a little bit, and this is better. It's more reduced harm. We're vaping to reduce our harm, right? Don't you want to know the levels of reduction?
Just
whether
like
it's 95%. Yeah.
Nicotine strength. You've always done that too. Yeah. It's the same shit. It's all the same shit.
Correct. So only the data that shows that vaping is completely harmless, that's all the data you want, then that's not the reality, because nothing is harmless. But there's the level of harm that we're mostly concerned about. And if we can eliminate some stuff to make it even better and also help us in the process of regulating this product, then we should welcome it. And we should make adjustments as an industry to self-regulate ourselves to do that. And
and the consumer should.
No, that won't ever fucking work. Half the people will self-regulate themselves, and the other half will fucking be the wild. I said Wild West. I promised myself I would never say Wild West. But yeah, I mean, the whole idea that there could be a self-regulating industry means that everybody has to fucking agree to regulate, and they don't fucking do that.
No,
gone.
No, but
and, even when Dr. F said, and I believe that it was even that same show where he said, you really shouldn't be dry firing your coils.
Correct.
Yep.
I don't know if that was that show, but yeah.
Everybody was like, oh, and then when the cinnamon study came out, everybody's like, oh, I love my cinnamon. You're a motherfucker for saying that.
That's what I want him to say.
It's not like he's saying it because it's your favorite liquid that he's trying to get rid of. That's what people don't understand.
He doesn't care.
It's like Dr. Paul Newhouse said, this is the data. The data doesn't care about your feelings. Well, he didn't say it that way, but I'm paraphrasing.
What about it? Absolutely.
What about it?
Absolutely. But I try to think about it as, I try to always bring common sense, because I'm not a scientist. I listen to them, and then I try to put it in perspective. And since we go to China a lot, we've been to machine shops where we've seen they don't only make vape products, by the way. So put that out there. Don't think it's a dedicated machine shop for vape products. It's like the vape products is like 1/100th of what they make. But the way that you manipulate and change the molecular structure of metals is heating it.
Yes.
And we've seen it, right? Where they heat it, and then they manipulate it, and then they change the color of it, and it changes the molecular structure of the metal by constantly, they heat it, they put it in water, they heat it again, put it in water. This has nothing to do with vaping, just other products that we were making at the time. So when Dr. F says when you're dry burning it, you're changing the molecular structure of the metal. Well, I mean, it makes sense. I'm not even a scientist, and I'm telling you that it just makes sense to me, because we're heating this wire up, and then we let it cool down. We're heating it up, we're letting it cool down. So obviously something is changing inside. So yeah, you might be able to do it 2, 3, 4 times, but at some point it's going to change what it emits from that metal, because simply the molecular structure has changed. To me, it was very simple. Wow, it was a fucking huge deal. It's like the end of the world. Like, I have never had a vape. Well, vapors don't give a shit. They'll vape whatever, as long as it's new and it's shiny and and it's hyped enough. They will vape it. Nobody cares. In prime example, in Greece, we have shaken vapes for 60 mils, because they don't allow over 10 mils. So it's a 60 mil bottle that has 20 ml of flavoring inside, and the consumer buys it. They add VG, PG, and nicotine shots. They shake it and they vape it. That's why it's called a shaken vape. These are not captured under the TBD, so they don't require TBD testing. However, on the products that I have released, and of other companies as well too, but the products that I have released, which is my Tasaki line, my tobacco line that I have there in Greece, I did full analysis of composition of MSDS flavorings that are in the liquid. Each analysis costs $2,800, right? I did it. I made PDFs. I sent it to the shops and to my wholesale manager, and I said, "Here you go. If anybody asks, consumers, retailers, distribution, anybody, here are the analytics on and it's nothing. It doesn't prove that my liquid is better. It's not nothing. It's there if somebody wants to see it. Not one motherfucker has asked for it. Not one. 3 years on the market since 2017. Not one person has asked to see it.
But they care. They care.
But it's there. You have it.
And then you're arguing to me because he's telling you not to dry burn. Like like nobody gives a shit like the what you're putting in your lungs, and you're worried about the fucking dry burn. Hey, Jennifer. That just said say hello to my meatballs. I was like, damn, Jennifer. But more direct. I was just talking about you, Jennifer. I was on the Fresh Show. I said good things about you. But anyway, so yeah, this is the disconnect between like some of the stuff that we see is like, man, either go across the board or don't say anything at all, you know?
Yeah.
I could easily came out and said, oh, look, my liquid has all these analysis from labs and my liquid is better. But that doesn't make my liquid better than somebody else's. No. And I never used it as that. It's there if anybody that wants to see it. I'm kind of pissed now that I paid, over 11 grand for these tests and they were never used. But who knows? Maybe one day the TBD3 comes along and we'll have to have them. I'll be prepared. But yeah,
it is what it is. I mean, you try to do the right thing, thinking that someday people are going to recognize that you did the right thing. But if you wait to do the right thing until somebody asks you to do the right thing.
Yeah. And me personally, I'm not looking for validation. We're way past that point right now. I mean, like Kevin said, all my stuff is documented, what I've said and whatever, I'm not looking for somebody to say you were right because ultimately we've still lost. I'm sad that we lost or that we're losing, I should say. I'm more sad about that than I am for somebody giving me, what is somebody telling me? Just a few. I've had a few people come back and apologize to me, but okay, I accept your apology. What good does that do? It doesn't do anything. It makes me feel a little bit better, but ultimately the industry loses, and the people that have been working passionately, like people like Kevin and you and other people that have been working passionately to preserve it, their work just was not fruitful, and a lot of it has to do with the sabotage from within the industry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have opponents, huge opponents. Bloomberg, I'll give it all. I'll give you all. Valley, COVID, Bloomberg. I'll give it to you all, and 100% agree with you. But you can't not see the sabotage that our own industry has done to ourselves.
Nope.
And we will never know the outcome if we didn't do these mistakes, because we never got there.
I'm just going to wait till I manage for something you didn't tell me. That's all.
I'm sure there'll be that. I'm sure
all kinds of shit that you haven't told me yet. I'm sure I will be.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that has happened that I wish I could talk about, but it wouldn't do any good.
Yeah.
The book is coming out at some point.
I know
it will. We're good into it.
Alone for 10 minutes, you could break this book. Just get away from him for 10 minutes.
I could. It's we're well deep into it, but we're just going back and refining and stuff like that. But it would do so much damage now. If it was plus even efforts that are ongoing are in there as well too, and it's just unfair because it's just not necessary. It's basically a drama book. It's basically like having a big, Jay Hayes Rip Trippers feud video going on, which would attract them. And that's basically what the book is. It's kind of like an exit strategy. This will be our farewell, but everything that's in there is accurate and non-disputed. You can't dispute it. The stuff is there and it's happened. Some people have left the industry. Some people are still in the industry. But the reason why it's called The Rise and Fall is because it chronicles the mistakes that I don't want to go and do you don't know nicotine. Meaning I don't want to go out there and tell you, Bloomberg funded that. You know that already. right? I don't want to tell you stuff that you already know, but I do want to tell you what the industry itself did to take a 9mm and point it right at its balls and pull the trigger until it emptied the clip. That's what I want to tell you. And so I think it's interesting. It's brutal, but I mean, you know me, I'm just gonna be brutal, but it's interesting.
So what Tennessee, I was in a conference call yesterday, or a Zoom meeting yesterday with Florida Smoke Free, where they, laid it out. We're, starting our legislative session and money's tight.
Yeah.
What's going on in Tennessee?
Yeah, although I don't really agree with that approach. I mean, I really have supported FSFA, but the truth is that you can't shame people into giving money anymore. It's just not going to happen. Tennessee is tight this year. At the beginning, before the session started, I had a Zoom meeting with all my members, and I said, our budget for next year is not being met based on what we're going to be bringing in, which is, against. I'm not going to sign a lobbyist commitment. I'm not going to go into debt. I've never, in 7 years, I've always operated in the black. So this was the first year that we're tight. So thankfully, Tennessee still has a lot of really good vendors, and they agreed to restructure the dues. And then some other companies stepped up to guarantee the funds for the upcoming session, and we were able to budget. We might have to take away PR after the session for a few months to be able to successfully balance everything, which is going to suck, but it is what it is. At least we'll have the lobbying, and we made it another year, basically, but barely.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, at this point, when it comes to fighting for this industry, it looks like the state guys are doing what they have to fucking do to survive in their states. I've said on the show, I've lost all confidence on anything on a federal level.
Yeah. I basically, I mean, so far, yeah, I agree with that. But I mean, I'll tell you what, I was very blunt. Imagine that, with my vendors. And I said, look, I understand that some of you have diversified, you sell other products, but my association is called Tennessee Smoke Free Association. And I represent tobacco harm reduction via the use of personalized e-cigarettes. That's what our mission statement says. So if you want to change it and do a catch-all and represent CBD and all that, you're more than welcome. Gladly, I will step down, and you can do whatever you want to with it. We dissolve TSFA and start a new thing. Or if we just don't want to fund this thing, I just shut it down. It's done. It's not, to me, this is a volunteer, but it has been a volunteer position for 7 years, Patrick. Fuck me, It's my baby. I would hate to see that happen, but it only makes sense. No hard feelings whatsoever. I understand business, and if this is not something that you want to continue, I'd be more than happy to step down. But like I said, thankfully, we have a lot of people that are really good in Tennessee and still big believers in harm reduction, and they decided they got behind me and they said, we're going to make this thing happen. But how many states can you say that about?
Not very many.
I mean, not many at all. And the legislative onslaught is coming this year. I mean, it's going to be a brutal session. Even for me, with our tax was introduced, which we're going to fight, but and I think that we're going to win. But and then my bill was introduced where we're getting preemption for municipalities in the state, which is a huge win for us. And I got big tobacco behind it as well too. So I'm very confident that it's going to move. But okay, so we get through this year. What are we going to do in 2022? If it's getting rougher and rougher and rougher and rougher, then
fewer businesses, fewer businesses mean fewer members,
right,
which means fewer people putting money in the hat.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the people that are working, the groups that are still surviving. I mean, I know that I know, Amanda Wheeler in Colorado and Arizona, and, Nick's going to do whatever he needs to do. And
right,
George is going to do whatever they need to do. And Maryland is going to do whatever they need to do. But like I said, on a federal level,
Right, but and that would be my next point. Like, okay, we get through this session. Well, I mean, we have the AVM that was formed. Maybe Amanda and her group will be able to be.
Howard, I mean, obviously,
I don't know. I don't know how they're going to raise the money that they want. Honestly, it's something that I told her when I had her on the show as well too. I wish her the best of luck. But maybe they will step up. But as far as past that, we have SFATA and whatever's left from the VTA if VTA is going to come back this year, which I doubt. I doubt the will. So we're left
not writing checks. I mean, the states are not paying. I mean, obviously, there's nobody there to pay. The states can't pay the fucking associate memberships. That's where VTA.
Absolutely no. I
mean, there's nobody writing the checks for those states to be part.
Even if it was, they wouldn't be able to make it on just that money alone. They need to have 3 or 4 big. Don't get me started with this. I mean, you're going to get me into trouble and a drama rant. But look, VTA is not VTA. Unless a big company steps up and takes the reins and changes the boards. And again, we're gonna find ourselves in the Jules situation where Jules is going to be on the board and everyone's going to be bitching about it. Unless something like that happens, I just don't foresee VTA coming back in the way that we've seen it in the past. Which again, it's unfortunate. And again, Kevin, I can proudly say I told them so, documented again, of the mistakes that they've made, including what they did with China last year, which was a huge mistake. But from a federal standpoint, we have no lobbying power right now. On either side of the aisle, honestly, we really don't.
I'm gonna point out something that I'm mad about you, and you're wrong. It was you that said we needed how much money for a PR campaign?
1.9 million.
1.9. So
it's like 5 million now.
So just this week, I found from ProPublica that Truth Initiative spent on marketing alone for ending June 2019, 59 million.
Yeah.
59.8. So I'm really angry at you that you didn't say like 40 million.
Yeah. To get to.
I want to clear the air with you. I want to make sure we're all
Thank
good.
You. I do apologize. Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, what microphone are you using?
I'm using are you asking to be a smart ass or are you asking on purpose?
No, I'm asking because you sound hollow.
No, he sounds good. Much better than when he used to sound.
Well, I bought him that microphone, but I didn't know if maybe he's just not on it. He's just not.
No, that sounds good. It sounds much better. Yeah. I mean, the PR. Oh God, yeah. I mean, we're up against monsters.
A couple years ago.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago. Yeah.
Again, what would have happened if we had that PR movement going back then before Volley had happened? Again, we can always speculate what could have possibly happened, but it is what it is. But how do you compete against that? I mean,
that's just them.
We can't get somebody to cut a check for $1,200. You're talking about $58 million, dude. It's just, don't worry. We got the passion. The passion will lead us. But
we'd have been done by now.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Almost 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. I mean, anybody that came in late, please go back and watch the first 48 of this. Senator Hollie Hughes from New South Wales in Australia was amazing. And she's going to come back in 5 weeks or 4 weeks or something, because there's part 2. There's stuff that's still going on. She's going to drag the TGA in because she's got a second hearing for the Select Committee on Tobacco Harm Reduction. And they're supposed to bring in the information that they put on notice on the last one, and they have to answer the questions that they didn't answer. So she's going to come back and give us a review and even more stuff from Australia. Like I said, she was amazing. Kevin and I were just laughing our asses off. She said some amazing things on the show. So Demetrius, what are your final thoughts? What do you want to leave?
I'm trying to understand what Jennifer is writing, that we need I think that maybe they look at it as though it may solidify the argument that if they are selling all adult products. I'm trying to understand that.
They look at it. Maybe they look at it as though it may solidify the argument that they are selling all adult.
What did I say to trigger that? I'm trying to because I wanna debate it. I want to respond to it. I don't like to leave people hanging like that.
Was that the multi choice shops? Maybe.
Oh, you think that?
Maybe.
So what if they had a sex shop and a vape shop?
Hold on a second. Kids don't use bongs or Delta 8? Because I can tell you what the demographic for that is.
She was talking about.
I think your vendors that decided to go hybrid.
Yeah.
That they're just looking for adult products that they can sell in their stores.
So that's going to solidify the argument to what? It's 21 and plus to buy vape products. I don't understand why would that solidify the argument.
I mean, they sell candy and cigarettes in convenience stores.
Yeah. Oh, I got you, Jennifer. No, it's not. Look, I'm not bashing them for selling these products. It's their right. I just don't know if I can continue to lead a group that's called Tennessee Smoke Free Association. That's all.
And have them sell combustible products.
Absolutely. And other products as well, too, because it's the mission of if you go to the webpage, the mission of the association is to promote tobacco harm reduction via the use of personal vaporizers, also known as e-cigs. That is the mission of it. So anything else that's added on there is not the mission of the association, is what I'm saying. So it's okay for them to change this and call it the Tennessee Smoke Free and association
and butt plug association.
Yes, whatever that is. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing this whole thing wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe Delta 8 is the future. But guess what? I even heard that Delta 8 prices are bottoming out right now. This industry they don't only fuck up the vaping industry, but they fuck up every industry that they get into. They went to CBD, they fuck that industry. Like there's fucking CBD at Belk's right now, right? You can buy CBD at Belk's. They fuck that
GNC. Our GNC sells fucking CBD.
Delta 8 comes out. If with huge confusion on if it was legal, what's not legal, what's lab tested, what's not, DEA labs, whatever your argument is. Now I heard the people that jumped ship from liquid to CBD to Delta 8, of course, now the competition is coming in and they're dumping the price there. Now you can get carts for like $18. I heard, they were originally $34.99. Within 6 months, Delta 8 is by now, like Delta 9. Where are we going to go next? And it's going to be Delta 800 puffs and Delta 2200 puffs. Then it's going to be what's after Delta? Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon. Oh, nice. Now we're going to do Epsilon 12. That's going to be the new thing. It's going to have Phil Bizarro tears in it.
No, they'll eventually get to Omega.
Yeah, eventually you get to Omega, and then you're going to start all over from the beginning. It's going to be the vicious cycle. Oh. Okay. All right. We got to go to bed. It's late. It was fun. Thank you, boys.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, sir.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Yeah. Like I said, everybody that missed the first part, please. And I'm going to go back through and I'm going to download this and I'm going to chop it so that I can have a part 1 with her and then part 2 with him. So, I
don't deserve to be on with Senator.
If you don't want to listen to him, you can just listen to her.
That's right.
Because it was awesome. Kevin,
what?
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for letting me be here. And then let him in. Always better looking guests than me, Demi. I don't understand.
Oh, I'll turn off my camera next time, or I'll put a filter on if you want. I'll do
every time I see
what you want me to do.
Every time I see him, he gets a little smaller.
No, I've been working out, but I'm trying to get stronger. I'm not trying to get smaller. So I'm trying to maintain my weight, but I'm going to a gym and I'm doing, weight and stuff like that. Yeah, not really powerlifting, but more of like a combination of, triceps, biceps, just trying to work out. I've never done that in my life.
Did you get with the trainer? Did you actually get with the trainer?
It's a one-on-one training. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to figure out what they call your 1 rep max is, and then build a program based on
Yeah, that's what they've
that.
done. That's what they've done.
Yeah.
So I go 4 days a week there, and it's brutal sometimes. I mean, it's like it takes me like 2 days to to recover, but I'm enjoying it. It's good. It's good.
So, all right, dudes. We're not even gonna do the parting thoughts. I just, everybody
Go watch part 1. There's my parting thought.
Go watch part 1. But there's some negative shit in here. There's some positive shit in here. We need just to make sure that the one thing that we always do is focus on saving the smoker, saving vaping, doing whatever we have. We've said on the show before, we're flying the fucking pirate flag. We will not. If there's a way that we can save somebody from smoking, I'm not afraid of any repercussions of making sure that happens. We have ways, and we're not gonna leave anybody behind. That is the important thing. Is if there's a way for you to be able to help someone, do it. Don't be afraid of. Our job is to fucking save smokers, and if that means that we have to skirt the laws, we have to change the way we do things, we're gonna do that, because saving a life is the most important thing. So y'all be good. Have a good weekend. Do all the things that you normally would do, because you know what? Monday we're going to come and we're going to be at it again. So peace. Love you. Bye.
Vaping is a lot less harmful than smoking a cigarette.
We're exporting a whole lot of really bad and dangerous rhetoric, bad research, and unfortunately it's being picked up and amplified in other countries.
Never forget the elephant in the room. It's actually such a big elephant that I don't think people can even breathe in that room, because it's such a huge elephant. It's the number one preventable cause of death in Australia. So when you are taking a precautionary approach, when you're like, no, we just don't know enough, I just tell them, shut up, because that I don't know, is killing people right now.
There's a tremendous push to bring about prohibition, to actually prohibit vaping. Whereas the evidence strongly suggests that actually, up to now, the most successful way of people stopping smoking cigarettes is vaping.
When vaping increases, smoking decreases.
That's right.
When vaping is restricted, smoking increases.
We're worried that, in fact, a lot of members of the public still think that using an e-cigarette is as harmful as smoking a cigarette. I mean, I have said that it would be tragic if smokers didn't quit and carried on smoking because they hadn't tried an e-cigarette, because they were worried about the safety of an e-cigarette.
Vaping is a form of tobacco harm reduction. No one is claiming it is the silver bullet that's going to stop everyone from smoking, and I think that's really important to acknowledge. And the people that actually support vaping support it as a harm reduction model.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.